You came in like a thief, and you stole the crown. Your lies keep piling up, and we watch them weigh you down. The fair agree that you stole, they run the whole fucking show. But we are not afraid, and we will not let go. The bigots rise, and you fan the flames. You build an empire of fear and pain. You're in an end with the billionaire scum, selling out this country while you play dumb. Burn it all down! Tear the walls apart! We will not bow! We will not lose heart! We will put an end to the hate! We will put an end to your lies! We will stand side by side! And we will You think these cages are built for the poor and for the weak, for the families torn apart while you laugh and tweet? Look at the puppets dance to the corporate sound, but we are still here and we will stand our ground! There is blood on your hands! We have seen the truth erased! You put the prophets first! Instead of the people you've displaced. History is watching, and it won't soon forget. It may not be you this time, but you could soon be next. Burn it all down, tear the walls apart. We will not bow, we will not lose heart. We will put an end to the hate, we will put an end to your lies. We will stand side by side, and we will rise! Burn it all down! Tear it all apart! Burn it all down! Tear it all apart! Burn it all down! Tear it all apart! Lies on the screen from the deadline machine! Burn it all down! They killed the American dream! Go play an escalator, a tower built on decay. Smiling like a tyrant while the world fades away. Fear and hate is the name of your game. Divide the people and shift all the blame. The truth is dead, you sold them for fame. History won't forget your name. Fake empire, built on greed. Fascist clown, watch it bleed! Break the chains! Fight the fire! Dethrone the king! Take it higher! Broken to cases! You've got blood on your hands! Worship the dollar while you ignore our demands! We storm the gates! Our rage is fueled by your lies! We will sit back and watch as your empire crumbles and dies! Fear and hate is the name of your game! Divide the people and shift all the blame! The truth is dead, you sold it for fame! History won't forget! Nay, nay! Fake empire! Built on greed! Fascist clown! Watch it bleed! Break the chains! Fight the fire! Dethrone the king! Take it higher! You build walls! We break them down! You spread lies! We burn this town. You breathe fear, we fight back. Hardcore heart, counterattack. Fake empire going down. No more kings for the crown. Justice call. Hear the sound. Rise up now and stand your ground. All out. Promises right. Promises right. On a gilded stage, dividing the people, fueling the rage. Walls built high, but compassion's low. Truth buried deep beneath the show. No more lies, no more deceit. We will bow down, we will retreat. Voices loud, we stand as one. The fight's not over, it's just begun. It's just begun. Families torn at the borderline. Justice denied, time after time. Prophet's soul on the planet burns. When will we learn? When will we learn? No more lies, no more deceit. We will bow down, we will retreat. Voices loud, we stand as one. The fight's not over. It's just begun! It's just begun! It's just begun! Resist the power and break the chain! Rise above all this hate and this pain! Together we're strong, we won't divide. In our unity we will find our pride. The fight's not over. It's just begun. The fight's not over. It's just begun. The fight's not over! It's just begun! The fight's not over! It's just begun! The fight's not over! Whispers turn to battle cries. The truth is dead, they bend to lies. They sell us lies in the name of peace. What justice rots beneath the leash. They write the laws just to serve the few. We bleed beneath the red, white, and blue. But freedom's fire still burns inside, where truth and treason often collide. So raise your voice and raise your fist. We are the storm that they can't dismiss. No more kings and no more crowns. We are the ones who will burn it down. The tree of liberty must feed on the patriots who dare to bleed. The tyrants tremble when freedom rings. We are the roots and we will bring the thunder rolling through the land. With fire in our hearts and blood on our hands. No peace without the the will to fight, no dawn without the rebel night. The ballot's a joke and the court's offline, and American justice lags a decade behind. So strike the drum and light the flame. Each beating soul will rise again. The people's wrath is a sacred flood. The soil drinks deep the martyr's blood. So raise your voice and raise your fist. We are the storm that they can't dismiss. No more kings and no more crowns. We are the ones who will burn it down. The tree of liberty must feed on the patriots who dare to bleed. The tyrants tremble when freedom rings. We are the roots and we will bring the thunder rolling through the land. With fire in our hearts and blood on our hands. Not for glory, not for gold, but for the stories that were never told. For every voice that they tried to drown, we will plant the flag and hold our ground. So raise your voice and raise your fist. We are the storm that they can't resist. No more kings and no more crowns. We are the ones who will burn it down. The tree of liberty must grow with the blood that only the brave know. And if we should fall, then we fall as one beneath the rising vibrant sun. The tyrants will fall and the people will rise, because freedom never truly dies. They build their towers in the sky, hoarding wealth while the workers die. Billionaires with blood-stained hands, trampling lives to expand their brand. They say they earned it, they say it's fair, but they only take while we despair. Their pockets are fat and their hearts are cold. Working ourselves to death makes them more bold. But now the time has come for the people to rise up. We will never bow, we will never kneel. We see our lives and we know the deal. You hoard the wealth, you crush the poor. We're coming for you, you capitalist whore. This land is your land, this land is my land. We will fight side by side and hand in hand. The system is rigged, it's all just a game. The rich pull the strings, the poor take the blame. Wealth hoarders live in mansions, the people live in chains. The billionaires don't care, they cash in on our pay. Luxury is a cage that's been built on the backs of the common workers that they keep under attack. But we the people, we've had it rough. Their empire is fragile, we've had enough. And now the time has come for the people to rise up. We will never bow, we will never kneel. We see our lives, and we know the deal. You hoard the wealth, you crush the poor. We're coming for you, you only got whore. This land is your land, this land is my land. We will fight side by side and hand in hand. No more silence, no more living in fear, no more being divided, no more broken man's tears. Don't try to keep us down. You are not our king. In every city and every town, let motherfucking freedom ring. Because the time has come for the people to rise up. We will never bow, we will never kneel. We see your lie and we know the deal. You hoard your wealth, you crush the poor. We're coming for you, you capitalist whore. This land is your land, this land is my land. We will fight side by side and hand in hand. It's better to die standing on your feet than living a lie down on your knees. It's better to die standing on your feet than living a lie down on your knees. I got something for you. Hang on to your asses. Golden towers, velvet ropes, behind the mask, a vulture chokes, power suits and dirty hands, wag the dog in desert sands, victims screaming into voids while kings play gods with broken toys, airbrush laws on every screen, what the hell does justice mean? Lock room, VIP, predator in a crowd walking free, blood on the floor, hurt you in chains, how many more gonna scream in vain? You built your throne on broken laws. Now you're scared, you know what you saw. Silence bought with piles of cash. Erase the files, burn the trash. Martial law for damage control. Draft the poor to hide your soul. Wanna light the world on fire just to dodge the electric wire. History is a loaded gun. Tick, 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 you better run. Lock room, VIP, predator in a crowd walking free. Blood on the floor, hurt you in chains. How many more gonna scream in vain? Your kingdom stinks with every name. You'll kill us all to dodge the blame. This ain't conspiracy, it's confession. Hidden in plain sight, full suppression. You laugh while the system bleeds, but the streets remember what you need. Truth, there's a crime. You just spare the time when the lights come by and your ass is mine. Locked room, VIP, no more secrets, no more canes. Dragged across your marble floor. Truth is kicking down your door. We signed up to fight for freedom, not to be the boots on the necks of Americans. You used us, you lied to us, and now we're coming to square the account. Get fucked and die mad about it! Admin 10360, bitch! We wear the scars, we bear the pain. We watched our friends die in blood and blade. You said that we fought for liberty, but we came home to fight hypocrisy. You turned a rifle around on peace. You crushed dissent, you unleashed police. You sent us in just to guard your throne. You turned the streets into a combat zone. No one walks alone. Not in this fight, we are alive. Whether it's day or night, no one walks alone. This ain't no game. There is only one true, we are the same. You armored up and sent the troops to beat down kids and protest groups, to guard the banks, protect the suits, so that they can't keep us under their boots. You wave the flag like it's a threat, but we remember every single bet that you left to rot, alone and discarded, while CEOs got golden parachute parties. One walks alone, not in this fight, we are the line. Whether it's day or night, no one walks alone. This ain't no game. There is only one true, we are the same. To every citizen still asleep, wake the fuck up! To my fellow veterans, remember your oath! Our freedom is dying right beneath our eyes! The people in charge tell us nothing but lies. The common people starve while billionaires see, and we're the ones tossed out in the street. Let's save the rich, let's make them pay their share. Pay their taxes is a burden they can bear. Make billionaires right again! Not in this fight, we one true. We are the same. No one walks alone. Not in this fight. We are alone. Whether it's day or night, no one walks alone. This ain't no game. There is only one true. We are the same. No one walks alone. We sign up to fight for freedom. I said I'm young and believe the vow. Stars and stripes, I wear them now. Trained to fight and trained to lead. Wore the flag like it was all I need. I went to war, that was my goal. Buried brothers filling bullet holes. Did what I had to cause that was the cost. I came home proud but broken and lost. The other party used me and threw me away. Now I see through the games they play. They wrapped their lives in red, white, blue, but the blood on my hands was never for you. It was never for you. They said freedom, they said truth, but fed me hate since I was a youth. Republican dreams, conservative pride, just uniforms for the greed they hide. Where were they when the VA failed? When my friends came home and we all derailed? Where were they when we screamed in pain? Too busy chasing power and gain. All the party used me and threw me away. Now I see through the games they play. You bring support to wave your flags while you turn your backs on body bags. Don't turn your back on the fallen. You say that I betrayed you. I bled for this country. What did you ever do? You cheered for war. Then you ran from the wounded. I see who the traitors really are now! I gave my all. You gave me lies. Soldiers die while your empire thrives. Call me woke. Call me lost. You never paid the fucking cost. And the party used me and threw me away. But I won't be silent one more day. I fight again, not for your pride, but for every soul you left behind. The party used me and threw me away. But I won't be silent one more day. Justice ain't red, justice ain't blue. It's the truth, and it's coming for you! Marching down the street with your MAGA flag, spitting serpent's lies while you're waving that rag. Screaming freedom while you chain the weak. It makes me sick every time you speak. Beneath your cross, behind your screen, you sold your soul for a fascist dream. Keyboard warrior that don't know pain, a cultist clown whose leader's insane. You are a king, not a constitution. You crave control, not a revolution. But you lick the boots, you're a rich man's pawn. You say you're free, but your freedom's gone. You're not with us. You're a fucking disease, you live in fear. Spread life on your knees, try to own the lips, but you just don't regret. You fake your fate, now you choke on the dead. Oh! The party of law and order, but you storm the hill. You back the blue except when you're out to kill. You wave a gun in your neighbor's face. Fake ass patriot, you're a fucking disgrace. History watch while you took your stand. We saw what you did all across this land. American patriots don't kneel to a king. You're a fucking simp sucking that cinnamon ring. You are a king, not a constitution. You crave control, not a revolution. But you lick the boots. You're a rich man's pawn. You say you're free, but your freedom's gone. You're not with us. You're a fucking disease. You live in fear. Spend life on your knees, trying to hold the limbs, but you just don't regret. You faked your fate, now you choke on the dead. You traded your hood for a MAGA hat. The mark of the beast, you believe in that? You don't believe the words that you shout. You chant just to drown out the doubt. You were born to lose and you still started this game. The fire is coming and we are the flame. We're gonna tear it down, bury it 6 foot deep, and we'll never forget that you're a shit. You are a king, not a constitution. You break control, not a revolution. But you lick the boots, you're a rich man's pawn. You say you're free, but your freedom's gone. You're not with us. You're a fucking disease, you live in fear. Spend life on your knees, trying to own the limbs, but you just don't regret. You faked your fate, now you choke on the dead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 26, 47. 1, 2. He wraps himself in red, white, blue, and lies. Makes empty oaths and louder bases boast. He stokes the fire with civil reason dies, and feeds the walls of mouthy loyal hoes. He plays for strong and black as foreign ghosts. The sirens feast the dead, freedom trust the hells. His throne is built on smoking shit posts. He sold us out to buy a gilded crown. Let liberty, let truth come down. Expose the rapists who tried to drag you down. Let history brand and not with any renown. He sold us out to buy a gilded crown. He scores people who bled for law and land, and praises the mob that stormed the sacred floor. A coward's grin, a scepter in his hand. He chooses chaos, shatters every door. His pledges rot the meaning nevermore. He traded the truth of treason, gained renown, and still he begs for power, blood, and war. He sold us out to buy a gilded crown. Oh, let liberty, let truth come down. Expose the rapists who tried to drag you down. Let history brand him, not with any renown. He sold us out to buy a gilded crown. He turns his back while tyrannies grow bold. He whispers secrets where the hawk should warn, and all for what? Some towers fake and gold. A name embalmed in scandal, loud and worn. No martyr here, just falling to be mourned. A fraud and silken jester in a gown. The gospel's house of shame we won't adorn. He sold us out to buy a gilded crown. Lady liberty, let truth come down. Expose the rapists who tried to drag you down. Let history brand and not with any renown. He sold us out to buy a gilded crown. Oh, Lady Liberty, we let you down. Oh, Lady Liberty, we let you down. When truth is lost beneath a gilded name, a green parade as patriotic pride, the people's trust becomes a tarnished flame, extinguished where deception dares to strike. This man does not deserve our loyalty, because he thinks that he is royalty. America! Fuck yeah! King praise in 7876 so you can suck our collective dicks on blown up lies built high on fear and spite. commands with bluster, rage, and crude disdain. What once was up, it's wrong to serve the right. And conscience cries in vain beneath the strain. This man does not deserve our loyalty, because he thinks that he is royalty. America! Fuck yeah! King Brains in 7876 so you can suck a collective dicks. No kids! The motherfucker must go! No kids! Straight to jail! No kids! Oh, we can show! No kids! Him the gates of hell! He mocks the weak, the weary, and the poor. Yet calls it strength to trample those below. The soul of service darkened at its core. What seeds he sowed, we're reaping what we sow. This man does not deserve our loyalty, because he thinks that he is royalty. America! Fuck yeah! King Brave since 1776 so you can suck a collective dick. And time will move on, and truth frequents its stage. No crown can outlast the people's rightful right. And time will move on, and truth reclaims its stage. No crown can outlast the people's rightful rage. Well, no people!
Hello.
Hi.
Are we live yet, Tim?
Oh yeah, you're live, all right.
Other thing says in the corner.
All right.
Jennie,
What?
I'm gonna tell you that I'm a big fan.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be on with you guys. This is fun. I'm sorry I screwed things up the other day.
What are you talking about? This was what we planned.
Okay.
Right?
Totally.
All right.
Happy Friday, everybody.
Happy
Yeah.
Friday.
It's been a
Slow
wild week.
news week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this week.
Hardly anything. Hardly anything.
Nothing happened. Nothing at all. Nothing at all in
Yeah.
your in Utah, a state you have lived in.
Right.
I was genuinely
So-
worried for my kids up there because my 28-year-old and his wife, who went to UVU and live really, not very far away from there. It's like, where is this guy? Is he just on the run? I was afraid for my daughter who's in another city not too far away. So I was texting all my kids. I'm like, you guys, lock your doors. Don't go out.
Yeah. I will tell you that I fell into we'll call it ex-Mormon content via the true crime rabbit hole. And so I watched my pandemic show became Sister Wives, and through that I learned about Lori Vallow. And then it just sort of spiraled, and I was watching all these Exmo content creators, including you.
Oh my
Well,
God.
thank you. Thank you for watching. It's quite the rabbit hole.
Oh, it is. It is. I hope that you don't mind me saying that. I enjoy your content very much. I've really enjoyed your transition from doing so much Expo content to doing ex-Republican content.
That
I
was
think that's
accidental.
pretty awesome.
Because I was married really young and I really don't have a lot of education, right? I was a trad wife. I was born and raised just to be a trad wife. And I haven't felt confident talking about current events, political issues, anything like that ever on my channel. The only thing that I've ever felt confident talking about is my ex-husband, Jake, and, Mormon stuff. So one morning I just woke up and I had been to that town hall with Gabby Gifford that just literally made me cry the whole time.
I love her so much.
Oh, she's wonderful, and she was attacked just 2 miles away from my home. So, I'm a Tucson girl. That happened right here. And that was a really jarring event for me to go to a Democratic event when I've been MAGA my whole entire life. And I just left the Republican Party 2 years ago. So I had filmed it and I had that on my camera roll. And I woke up one morning and it's like, I'm so tired of talking about, Jake and relationships and things. What if I just post this video and talk about how I used to be MAGA? I didn't even realize that that was a thing at all. And I thought, nobody's going to watch this. My followers aren't going to watch this. And here we are.
Well, here's the thing. A lot of us have similar experiences. For me,
Yeah.
I was raised, we'll call it fundevangelical, Southern Baptist in rural South Carolina. That's where I live. I think you lived here too.
Oh, I was in Travelers Rest for a while. Where are you? Or do you not tell people?
I'm
tell
in
me
Columbia,
later.
but I went to Clemson University.
I've been to
That's
Columbia.
Yeah. So now, this is me proving that I do, in fact, listen to your content.
Yeah.
So I graduated from Clemson, but my mom and my dad are still MAGA, and so is my brother. And I'm tap dancing until Tim gets his headphones right. So we see you, Tim. We cannot hear you yet. So
I haven't said anything.
yeah. So
there you are. Okay.
Your content really resonates with me.
I think that the Southern Baptists and the evangelicals and Jehovah's Witness and Mormons, we're all just fundy cousins.
Yeah, I like to call y'all my siblings with extra reading material.
So true. Okay, so we have Tim and up in the right screen.
That's Matt.
I'm Matt.
Okay. Hi,
And
Matt.
I am Vicky.
Huh?
Okay.
I don't know why
I'm going by admin V. Yeah.
I've been watching you guys a lot, but you've mostly been in my pocket while I have headphones on while I'm doing stuff. So it's nice to see your faces.
It's better that way, because then that way you're not you can just kind of let it be background noise, as opposed to well, what's wrong with that guy?
No, I'm listening intently. There's no background noise. I'm listening to every word you're saying, taking notes.
Yeah.
Can you walk us through, for the people that have no idea who you are? Because there are people who are like, oh, ex-MAGA, I'm not watching her. She's still a traitor. And I want to get people out of that mindset. So can you walk us through kind of a brief timeline? I remember you said that you got married young, you were a trad wife, and some people probably don't know what that is. Can you walk us through kind of the progression of events from, I guess, courtship? I'm presuming it was courtship, and then where you are today.
Well, let me start here. And first of all, thank you so much for having me on your show. I am so excited to be here. You guys are great. You're doing amazing things.
We're excited to have you.
Well, I'm just honored. The honor is all mine. And I do feel like, for those who don't know me, you're probably going to be double triggered, because I did do my MAGA curls today. I got the Mormon girl curls going on, my little American flag antique brooch. So I was born and raised in the Mormon church. I was born in 1974, before the internet, when churches, high demand religions like Mormonism could really indoctrinate you in ways that you couldn't go to the internet and Google and see if there were any varying ideas on it. So I was deeply indoctrinated in Mormonism. I was born into a multi-generational family. And it's interesting, Tim, that you ask, was it courtship? I was set up on a blind date, trafficked. Literally every therapist, every domestic violence advocate that's worked with me has handled me as a trafficking case. I was set up with a total stranger who was a recently returned missionary. I was already engaged to somebody else. I was 19 years old, and our 11th date was in the Mormon church. I go into a lot of details on my channel about that forced marriage. He was not a good person. On our second date, he did some things our Mormon bishop said, you guys have to get married or else you're going to burn in hell forever. So I married a virtual stranger 6 weeks after we met, and we didn't spend a lot of time together in that 6 weeks. Got married in the Mormon temple, and it's interesting looking back on my life now, because I think that I have probably had a very independent spirit. I'm high IQ. I don't necessarily resonate with what people would consider feminine pastimes, hobbies, passions. And here I was stuck in the Christian nationalist, Mormon, MAGA, before MAGA was a thing, trad wife track. So I got married really young and was a submissive wife, like in every way. One example of that is just a couple months after we got married, my brand new Mormon returned missionary husband told me that he didn't want me to go back to college. I was in the middle of, what I hoped would be my bachelor's degree. And he said, I'm not going to pay to educate a housewife. So I dropped out of college and started having babies, and we would have 4 bio and 1 adopted child. And I spent 24 years everything that you can imagine. If you watch Ballerina Farm, I always say that I was Ballerina Farm before Ballerina Farm was Ballerina Farm, because I was at one point a little Mormon mommy influencer. Even before TikTok and Instagram and all those things, I had a real life website and a blog and Instagram and Facebook page. And
there was a time the Mormon church really encouraged that, right?
Oh yeah.
Like it was sort of a common thing, a way of sharing your faith at the time.
They still do.
That the church encouraged that.
Oh yeah.
I think that I saw something a few months ago come out that they were paying influencers to do videos that were really positive about Mormon. Again, I spend far too much time on Exmo TikTok and Exmo YouTube for somebody who's never been Mormon. So I know a lot about your culture, and I feel a little like a stalker right here, right now, because of how much I know. So I apologize.
Well, honestly, you know more than I did inside the Mormon church, because I only knew what they told me. And 7 years ago, I left the Mormon church. And that's when I found out everything. So now I'm always on ex-Mormon TikTok and everywhere too. I'm going down that rabbit hole. Like, we're all curious about it, because I'm like, whoa, wow.
For me, when I left being a Christian, it was because I had a experience where I was a Sunday school teacher, and one of my Sunday school teachers was arrested for doing some pretty horrific things to his children, and my church hid it. So what was your reason for leaving the church? What was some of that for you?
I have one of the most unique leaving my church stories that I've ever known. And I pioneered ex-Mormon TikTok, and I have like thousands of ex-Mormon friends. And I've never heard one as distinctive as mine. First of all, I had a little crack in, I guess, my brainwashing when my marriage got so abusive that I was ordered to see a therapist, a real life therapist, not my bishop, not just, going to church and feeling the Holy Ghost on Sundays, but I was forced to see a trauma and abuse therapist for my safety. And as I sat down with this therapist and started to really learn how to listen to myself, and also for the first time ever got eyes on my life that were outside of the church, outside of the religious organization, I developed this really nasty habit of wanting to feel okay, wanting to feel happy. Like my therapist right away, he pointed out abuse, and he pointed out just how miserable my life was. And I started to really tune into how I was feeling. I had never tuned into my feelings in my entire life. I also inadvertently made a couple of lesbian friends. I had a multi-level marketing company that I was, every Mormon mommy has to do a multi-level marketing thing. And I inadvertently signed up a couple of lesbians.
Isn't church more
lesbian
or
friends
less
are the best?
Functionally a multi-level marketing scheme itself?
It is.
Itself?
Yeah. It absolutely is. I do videos on how LDS Inc. is just one giant MLM. So I made these lesbian friends, and it's funny, all of a sudden these lesbian friends kind of demystified the boogeymen. Like, I don't know why Mormons hate lesbians and gay people so much, but they did, and I did. And then I had these lesbians in my downline, and they were the kindest, most beautiful people that I'd ever seen. So, all that's kind of going on. And then just literally one day in October of 2018, I just went to church like I always did. And the first hour of church, Mormon church is 3 hours, was sexist. It was on the family proclamation. They preached from the pulpit about how that women shouldn't work. And the second hour was anti-Semitic. And the third hour, the title of the lesson was The Evils of Homosexuality. And it was the women's group, it was the women's Sunday school that last hour. And it's funny because everyone was so nice and so sweet. And this cute little 23-year-old teacher gets up there to teach us this lesson. And I sat there in my seat as a lifelong Mormon. 44 years I had bought into all of this. And I felt like I was going to vomit. And I remember thinking to myself, just sitting there, I come to church every Sunday to learn how to love people better and be kinder. And it was really in tune with my feelings, about how I was feeling with things. And it's like, this isn't making me love people. This is teaching me how to hate. So I raised my hand. I said just that. And I was like, I'm walking out of the Mormon church today because of this lesson right here. 44 years, 5 generations, 7 generations on my kids' side. And I'm gone. We're out. And I just walked out the door and I've never been back. That was it. So I went to church believing. I left not believing.
Yeah. So the one of the things that it's a slow burn, right? I don't know about you, but like for me, leaving the church was a slow burn. It was something that happened over a period of about 20 years for me, where one of my first steps out was finally meeting somebody who was openly bisexual. And I read their poetry and I'm like, you're not straight, are you? And they were like, no. And then I proceeded to do what we call ask them everything you ever wondered about gay people. Question session. It was 1996. The internet did not exist in the same form it exists now. I had no one to ask, so I did. And from that moment on, I was an ally. So
mine wasn't
I hear you when you say that.
I just I didn't even, the lesbians hadn't really, I didn't realize that was kind of smoldering beneath the surface. I believed. That Sunday I stopped believing.
I love it how fast that was for you. That's wonderful. Matt or Tim, do you want me to stop talking? Y'all start talking?
No, you're honestly going everywhere.
Okay.
The last like 30 freaking live streams have been like me and Matt. You go ahead.
Okay, that's good. Then I'm going to keep going and keep asking questions.
I'm actually going to go to the kitchen and I'm going to make a drink real fast. Y'all want something?
Actually, yeah, kind of. You just
you're mixing drinks and I'm not there.
Right?
Oh, Tim always has a little drinky drink on the live stream. Mine is sadly just a soda.
But
Tuesday,
honestly,
I didn't. I've actually been going a little dry the past couple of days. But tonight, I'm like, I need a gin and tonic. I need a big Sarge.
Friday.
I love a gin and tonic. So let's go there then. After you left the church, what was your next step?
My next step was my entire life.
Did you try
falling
coffee?
apart.
Did you try?
Yeah.
I had never had coffee. I had never had alcohol. I was deeply devout. I used to tell my kids, at mommy's funeral, then tell everybody mommy never had a glass of wine. Mommy never had a sip of alcohol. Mommy never did drugs or watched R-rated movies. I was really proud of my devotion. So 2 weeks after leaving the church, my 24-year marriage ended. And I was thrown into so much post-domestic violence, that post-separation abuse was life-threatening and really intense. And then I became homeless. So I would say, I didn't really get to enjoy those ex-Mormon, early days as much as I should have. I'm sleeping in my car and divorcing a monster. But no, it's funny. I still don't know how to order coffee. I still just, it's been, a slow process learning this stuff as an adult. I'll just go into the coffee shop and tell the barista to surprise me. Surprise me. I'm a former Mormon. Yeah, I don't know how to order coffee.
I go in there like a fucking asshole and I'm like, I'd like a coffee flavored coffee, please. The largest one that you have. Save a little room for cream and sugar. And that's it.
That's
okay,
it.
I go to
mysterious skate and I was like, that's mine now.
My first alcohol. Do you want to hear my first alcohol story?
Absolutely.
Of course we do.
So like right after, so I leave the Mormon church. 2 weeks later, my marriage ends. And because my ex-husband, Jake, picked up a 19-year-old hooker. That's how my marriage ended. So, and I was no longer Mormon. I didn't have to stay with him. So that was it. It was over. 24 years. And so that was really emotionally jarring, right? So I laid in bed and cried for 4 days. Finally, a friend came, dragged me out of bed, and like, you've got to get up and live your life. So I needed some milk and stuff. I put on my shoes, drove myself to Walmart, and there was like back in the liquor section, like I had to go back and get like toilet paper and milk and some different things at the back of the store. And there's this little lady there, and she has a little hairnet on and like a little folding table, and she has 3 bottles of red wine. And she's like, would you like to try the new like Cabernet Sauvignon at Walmart, at the Walmart Supercenter? And I'm like, what the hell is this? And it's funny, she had these little sample cups, right? And I had to actually give her my ID. She had to, I had to sign my name on the thing and whatever. And I was like, I told her, I said, I've never had wine before. I was Mormon until 2 weeks ago. So I've never had alcohol. And she thought that was a hoot. And I was just like, I'll buy all 3 bottles. And so I put them on a credit card. It was my first credit card ever. And I was going through a divorce, and I took them home, and I FaceTimed another friend of mine who had just left the church. And I was like, I have 3 bottles of red wine, and I just bought myself a wine glass at Walmart to go with it. And let's get drunk via FaceTime. So that was my first alcohol. I was 44 years old.
So you not only did you got wine, but you got fucking Cabernet Sauvignon with, I mean, if y'all don't know wine, I can't help you. But just, you know what? That's my, when I drink red wine, that's what I drink.
It was really good.
Maybe I'm a low every time, but
I like Italian wine.
And
I don't drink much, but I do like Italian wine. I drink Pinot Noir and Pinot Grigio. Those are my 2 choices.
My favorite wine is whiskey. So
fair. I also like the Jameson every now and then.
I like it. You can come back, and you know what? You can just every Tuesday you just log in and join us. And
can I just officially join?
Absolutely.
Sure.
I'll buy the shirt.
Like one of the things I wrote yesterday. I mostly write on the Sons of Liberty Substack and the Facebook page. That's really my contribution to Sons of Liberty.
It's a big contribution.
And I like to write. I'm better at writing than I am talking in front
is making a certain subset of internet users really angry.
Oh yeah. I usually anger people somehow.
Well,
I made people.
I wouldn't
mad,
say just generally
you,
people. I'd say there's a certain subset of people. This certain
you lead off with having to be here, and everybody's like, ah.
They're mad at Tim because of me. But I wrote a post yesterday.
Those are always my favorites. They get mad at her and yell at him.
So you're a button-pushing rebel, huh?
Oh, absolutely. I'm also a woman on the internet, so you never.
Yeah.
You know what that means.
Oh, I know. I know.
Yeah. I wrote a post yesterday called "Why," and I talked about my journey from Republican to this, and why I still talk to my Republican relatives. And I think talking to people, you, like me, had a point where you said, "Nope, I can't do that anymore." For you, what was that point when it comes to politics? Was it the church leaving point, or was it a different one?
No,
I'm asking the hard question.
So when you're old like me, I think that when people leave like their church or whatever,
so don't.
Yeah. Well, so but I see all of these little baby ex-Mormons, and they're like, "Oh, I was 18 and I just left the church." And it's like, honey, you were never even in the church. Like you barely got your toes wet, right? Like I was drowning in the Mormon ocean for 44 years. So I think that it's a slower process to deconstruct little bit by little bit. So first I deconstructed like relationships, like, oh, maybe I don't have to get married. Maybe I can be a feminist. Maybe women can work. And then I deconstruct like, okay, maybe it's not evil to be gay. And little bit by little bit, then I made really good friends with the Black ex-Mormon and realized that I was racist and being a white supremacist probably wasn't a great idea. And I would say that I had, it's like shedding the layers of your clothes, like the Incredible Hulk, everything just kind of goes flying off. The last little bit that I had was I still felt like the Republican Party reflected my values. And I loved Donald Trump, loved him. And I was 100% MAGA until going into this last election cycle. It was about 2 years ago when things were just kind of starting, getting started. And there was a little bit of talk of Trump running again and who some of the candidates would be and stuff. And I started to see online just some of the dialogue around MAGA. I was MAGA. Like that was every cell in my body was MAGA still. And I again started to just kind of tune into my emotions and like, this stuff makes me feel sick and these people are hateful and I am these people. So like, what am I doing here? Like I've deconstructed all my colonialism and racism and all this stuff. So does this MAGA suit still really fit? And so one day I was like shooting some TikTok videos and stuff and I had my laptop out and I'm like, I should just actually look at politics. Like I've never studied politics. I was Mormon, I read the Book of Mormon and the Bible my whole life and I didn't really learn that much ever. Busy being a trad wife to a bunch of kids. So I just opened up and I'm like, what do Democrats stand for? What do Republicans stand for? And as I kind of just went down the line of actual politics, actual, financial, economic, just everything with the two platforms, it's like, oh shit, like nothing in this Republican stuff, like this literally isn't me. And then I started kind of diving into Donald Trump and I'm like, he's kind of a scumbucket. And I just quit. I just literally quit. And I was like, I'm a Democrat now. Like, huh. And that kind of, I let that sit with me for a little bit.
For
I
me,
really believe in these policies.
Go ahead.
That's exactly how I think it happens for a lot. For me, it was 2008. I too realized I was a racist in 2008 because I was listening to the rhetoric around Barack Obama. And I was hearing it from my own family and from my friends and everybody around me. And I was like, I don't like how this feels. And so when Sarah Palin, I voted for John McCain in the primary that year. And in the general election, I voted for Barack Obama. And so it was, I can tell you it was between
I
those
did too.
Yeah. So the Sarah Palin was just a bridge too far for me. So I just couldn't vote for her.
I had a lot of friends in the same boat as you, Vicky, where they're from McCain, and then Sarah Palin came along, and it was just it was too cartoony. It was too over the top. It was not serious. It was not.
And she was a breath away from the president
that I wanted to go with. And
so I couldn't stand it. So obviously we're stuck with Donald Trump in 2024 and 2025 through 2028 unless he dies soon. But it was too much for me. So and I didn't like I'm from the South, you know that. You can hear it in my voice. I didn't like the racist rhetoric around it because I had unpacked a lot of my racism, not all of it, obviously, at that point. So I just stopped. And I'm not going to pretend that the rise of social media at the time didn't play a role, because suddenly I had access to people sharing articles from the Atlantic that were talking about the history of redlining, and people were sharing articles about a lot of other things that were challenging my beliefs. And I am somebody who can be challenged and change my mind with facts and logic. And so once I got the facts and the facts weren't matching up with my belief system, I changed my mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think for me also it was like the college years was a big reevaluation of how I thought the world was, and seeing some things that perhaps I didn't realize how big of an issue they were. I think, oh, it's not as big as it makes. People make it out to be on TV, kind of things. And then, this was my junior year. I roomed with a guy from Jamaica, and he didn't have a set of wheels, so I was our set of wheels to go anywhere, go to the store or anything. And I've told this story on here before, and we would get stopped like every time. And it was not your standard traffic stop like I had, grown up white teenager in suburbia getting pulled over for speeding or something. This was both cops get out of the car. They've got their weapons on already. Put your hands outside the window. Let me see your hands. Where you boys heading tonight? The whole 9 yards. It was like, oh, shit's like this out here in the sticks, huh? It was an eye-opening experience, and it started making me reevaluate. Maybe I didn't know everything. Maybe there were some things that were a bigger problem than I had experienced myself. And I started looking at the profiles and information about politicians and what did I actually agree with them on beside a letter next to their name. And it starts to be like, they're they say they're for the working man, but he's opposed everything that would have helped someone in my family who was out of work, or would have helped me when I was on a hard time there. That's you start to really wonder, like, wait a minute, have I been fed a line this whole time?
Yeah.
Mine was 2000, the 2004 election. Was it 2004? Yeah, I think it was. I was like,
Who is that?
I don't think I want to vote
John
for this.
Kerry. John Kerry and George Bush.
Bush's re-election.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't think I want to vote for this fucking idiot like ever again. I was still in the military, and I was just like, I've been to Iraq and Afghanistan, and I was like, nah. But I wasn't gonna vote Democrat. I just didn't vote. And I got out of the military, and the 2008 election came around. And prior to that, the Tea Party had been like running amok, and all of these bills for legislation that was designed to help veterans, and actively serving people, and to investigate the causes of PTSD, find better treatment options. There were all these radical bills that were coming up for things like equine therapy, outdoor therapy for veterans, things like that, going camping and fishing with trained professionals who were also outdoorsy people. I was going to say outdoorsmen, but I was like, no, that's not the right word. And they just kept getting shot down by the Tea Party. The Tea Party was like, well, this is just money we don't need to spend. I'm like, you motherfuckers voted to send us to war. So that was where I was like, I'm done with this party. This party can I wanted to vote for John McCain just because I remember John McCain from the 2000 election, even though he quit, and was back in, and then quit, and then was back in, and then quit again. But he had Sarah Palin as his running mate. And for about the first 15 seconds, I was like, oh, that's a MILF right there. But then she opened her mouth, and I was like, no, can't do it, buddy.
What was
so
he thinking?
Well, they wanted somebody, they wanted to get somebody who was super conservative. They were running against a black man, so they needed a woman. And she was the governor of Alaska.
They couldn't go with another white dudes. They needed some other.
There was another woman minority would have been the same. Everybody thought was going to be the running mate. I want to say her name was Anne, but I can't remember for sure. But they ended up going with Sarah Palin because she was polling really hard, because she was like, I stand against Russian aggression and stuff like that. So anyway, that was when I first voted Democrat. And I was already at that point, I was already pretty socially liberal.
Same.
I was one of those. I'm like a fiscal conservative, and
Tim
then
and I
just
were in the same boat.
seeing the amount of hate that Barack Obama was getting, I was like, you realize that you're just convincing more people to vote for this guy. Like, the harder you shout that this guy is a foreign-born Kenyan Muslim, the more people like me are being like, oh, well, fuck all of y'all, I'm voting for this guy. And that was basically my descent into the left. And then I started Sons of Liberty in 2015 when Donald Trump, basically the day after Donald Trump rode down his little escalator. And all of my veteran friends were like, hell yeah, America first. I'm an American nationalist. I love my country, and all these liberals can't be patriots. You can't be a Christian if you're a liberal. You can't be a patriot. We're taking back America, motherfucker. Woo! And that's when I was like, no, these same people were my friends 2 days ago, and now all of a sudden I'm their worst enemy. Nah, so that's when I started the page, and I was like, what should I choose as a name? And it just happened to be this. I was like, this is mine now. This is mine now. This is mine now. I'm putting it all together. And people are like, oh, no, it's a MAGA page. And I was like, nope. Gotcha. And the rest is history.
Just a quick note on the 2008 election and kind of what went into developing into how McCain chose Sarah Palin. For those who are really interested in digging into history, I think it was Game Changer was the book and the movie by the same name, movie with Woody Harrelson. It's written by the guy who was McCain's campaign director, who is now the lead guy at the Lincoln Project. Dude, seriously, I can't remember his name.
Not George.
He was married to the press secretary from last time, right?
Yes.
Yeah. George Conway. I almost said
not George Conway.
Like, wait a minute.
Not George Conway. It was someone in the audience. Help me out here. Why is my brain not working?
Not George Conway. Well, then
no.
I don't.
No, George Conway is also on the board for the Lincoln
Project.
Project, but he was not McCain's campaign director.
They're saying Rick Wilson in the chat.
Maybe it was Rick Wilson. All right, I don't remember the name, but it's a really good book, and if you don't have time for the book, it's a really good film. I think HBO did it.
I bet we could Google this.
It was such a weird choice. So I was still Mormon. I was super conservative, alt-right, prepping, like all the stuff, and racist, white nationalist, Christian nationalist, white supremacist, all that stuff. And I was hate watching the Democratic National Convention the night that Barack Obama took the stage. Like, literally just hate watching it. Like, I'm going to turn this on in my living room and I'm going to watch these horrible, evil Democrats do their thing. Like, how old was I in 2005? I don't know, like 30 years old or something, right? And this young senator, Barack Obama, takes the stage. And I was in tears the entire time. I don't remember anything that he said, but I remember the way that I felt listening to him speak. And he had me right there. He had me at that Democratic National Convention. And I actually drove to the library that week and got, I think it was Dreams of My Father, and read the whole book. And I'm like, it's really weird that this Black Democrat is speaking my language. Like, the stuff that he's talking about in this book really resonates with me. But of course I couldn't tell anybody that. So I didn't tell him in my family, I'm voting for Barack, but I did. He's the only time that I ever voted for a Democrat. I had served on my college, the campus Republican club, with George H. Bush against Bill Clinton. I was so Republican, right? And I voted for Barack Obama, and I never publicly confessed it until 2 months ago. So he was just good.
Oh, like I said, I voted for him and I didn't look back. And it was just one of those things where the more information I got, the further left I went, and now I'm left of the Democratic Party. So
information is dangerous.
Yeah. I read a lot. I don't know if y'all know this about me.
Of colleges.
But I read a lot, and
Uh,
I've read my way into progressive politics. That's just the way it's rolled.
See, I went to a Mormon college. So, Matt, I'm kind of jealous that you got to college and you're like, you discovered yourself. I got to college and I was further indoctrinated and brainwashed. And by the time I left college, I was like the ultra Mormon. So,
Mhm. Yeah.
the place
Would-
where Charlie Kirk was shot, that school,
yeah,
Utah,
UVU.
is it Utah Valley?
Oh,
Mhm.
Utah Valley. Yeah, we got questions.
Okay, what's the question? My son
Is
went
that a
there.
Mormon school or is that like
So
a
it's not run by the church. UVU, it's kind of like an alternative to BYU if you can't get into BYU or you can't afford BYU, or like if you're just not, you know, if you're not worthy of BYU, you'll go to UVU as an act of defiance. So I don't know what the percentage of kids that go to UVU is, but it's not a covenant school. It's not run by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. It is a Utah state school, but I mean, I would guess that like 90% of the student body is Mormon. So all my little Mormon nieces, my son went there, and my boyfriend went there when I was in college. So it's very Mormon-y.
I've got another question for you. This is gonna sound weird. They keep
I love
saying
it.
woods. They keep saying woods. They found the bolt action rifle in the woods. Are there woods there? Because it seems like it's more of a desert place.
It is a desert. And so I've had that come up a couple times today. Like people are saying, yeah, he hid the rifle in the woods. I was going to ask my son, who spent a couple years at UVU, exactly what that campus is like. But even in like little downtown areas of Utah, you'll have a lot of trees. You know, there's a lot of pine trees and stuff. So I would say that it was probably a cultivated, forested area. UVU does brush up against a little bit of like the mountains there, but it's like little like high desert trees. It's not like
little,
the
little
Oregon.
scrubby trees?
Yeah,
'Cause there's
it's
not a
scrub
lot of
oak. Yeah,
water.
it's scrub oak. It's pinyon pines. It seems like that. So yeah, I think that when people
I
are
was
thinking
just out in
woods,
Texas, and I saw a lot of that. We were in hill country, so it's not desert, but it's the same type of scrubby trees because there's not enough water in the ground to sustain them. I looked at
Yeah.
Google Earth, and I didn't see. I saw like a little tiny cluster of trees, but it was literally like, like somebody planted. It's like, oh, plant a tree here, plant a tree here, plant a tree here, and that's it. I was
I
like,
think it was a
"Where's these
cultivated
woods?"
wooded area because there's no woods there. It's not
Yeah.
Seattle.
We
It's
were
not.
we were reading the reports that had come in, little tidbits here and there, like we were in the admin trying to like, because we're the detectives, right? We're going to solve this whole thing. We're going to piece this together because
Called it.
seven clowns on the internet are going to solve the mystery, right? We're there like, look at the Google Earth, like, oh, there's enough trees over here to be this. Okay, we must run this way. Look at the map, or someone else would post something on Twitter, just like he went through the building like this, and it just none of it was right.
We also had a deep, long discussion about engraving bullets in the admin chat. I feel like you should know that as well. I am a crafty bitch, right? Like I've done it all. Tim, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to break you, but like I just cannot picture a 22-year-old boy who was raised as a hunter sitting there engraving tiny little things on bullets. That's just not something I could see happening. And so there you go. That was my take.
Mormons are very crafty though. Like that is like the hallmark of Mormonism. And he comes from this big Mormon family, and he would have been raised in Boy Scouts. He probably would have, gone through the whole scouting program. They just stopped that about 6 years ago. So he would have been a Boy Scout. So I would imagine that he learned how to do stuff like that. Like my Boy Scouts, I was a den mom for a long time, and we learned like wood engraving or wood burning, I guess it's called. We learned all kinds of engraving stuff. We taught our boys stained glass. We taught our boys like all kinds of kind of cool crafty things. So I don't know. I don't think that that's outside of the realm. He seems like he's super high IQ and super low emotional IQ. I've read a lot about him here since his name was released. And I also have some friends who say that they're friends of the family. I reach out obviously to all of my Utah ex-Mormon network. And he does seem super antisocial. Yeah, super small town. Like Washington is tiny. Like it's out there in the middle of nowhere. It's outside of like Hurricane. I've been to Washington city before. It's not even a city, but
of course,
yeah.
the video makes it disappear here. As when I got, this is a 308, so it's a little smaller than the 30-06 that but to show you like how to get this to show. There we go. All right. So you see it's smaller than the width of my fingernail. This is not a big area to work with for these intricate long messages that they're telling us are etched into this thing. And I'm curious to see what they've interpreted to be all these anti-fascist things and meme stuff and song lyrics.
From 2010 Tumblr is what I'm hearing.
There's what?
Yep, they're saying it's memes from 2010 Tumblr type things.
Yeah, they're all memes, though. I've had a number of right-wing associates and friends who push back, said, no, these are all anti-fascist messages he meant for, to show that he was part of the left. It's like, what part of the Helldiver 500 gram bomb code is part of the leftist agenda?
Right.
Someone's got to show me what
that's not us. Like,
no, we're going to have to explain that one to me.
Liberals are into like RPGs and MMOs and shit.
Yeah. I've got nothing to talk
heard.
about. You might as well be speaking Greek.
So that brings me back to Jennie. So you spent basically your whole life, I guess, in the Mormon church.
Yeah.
So knowing what we know, or what has been alleged, I guess, that the internet has sort of sleuthed out, plus the press releases from law enforcement and Utah governor, etc.
Yeah. A little bit that I've sleuthed out.
Yeah. So the family obviously has been painted as religious, conservative, Mormon family. The father is some type of minister, retired sheriff's deputy or sheriff. The mother is a registered Republican. This kid was apparently an independent voter, which isn't uncommon. So with him growing up in this family, what do you think the odds are? Because they haven't officially come out and said this kid was, radical left, radical right. At least law enforcement hasn't. Obviously, the government administration is like, oh, he's a leftist. But what do you think the likelihood is that he's actually radicalized somewhere on the left?
I don't think that matters. And I think that he has been radicalized left. And I see this a lot because if you've been in this high control little Mormon bubble, then you get to college and you swing totally the other way and you become a lesbian and dye your hair purple and all that stuff. Like I've had a lot of my friends' children who growing up in Mormonism, like you don't get to explore your personality until you leave home. And often you have a paradoxical response to your upbringing. I don't think that the left or right matters. I do think that he probably, from everything that I've heard from people and everything that I've read, I do think that he is like deeply left. But the important bit is the radicalization to begin with. I look at growing up in Mormonism, and it's really important to mention the fact that he had a mom and a dad. They have a nice house. This is what everyone tells you, like this is the recipe for like happiness, and America should be built on this nuclear family. And that nuclear family is turning into Ruby Franke and Jody Hildebrandt and Lori Daybell and things like, and I have so many people in my own personal life who it looks great on the outside, and there's so much crime, so many just horrible, toxic things going on beneath the surface. So really important to point out that this guy comes from what looks like the ideal family. The ideal family and growing up in these religious communities is radicalizing people. It's leading to radicalization. So I talk about it like this. When you grow up Mormon, it's like you're a CD player, right? Remember the old CD players before we could stream? And he used to have the Mormon CD in the player and he took it out, but he still has that radical base. So now he's going to stick in far left radicalization, and he could just as easily go over to China and become a communist. He has radical roots, and that radicalization typically tends to express in different ways. I see when people leave the Mormon church that they do, like we still have this intensity. We still have this desire to have that strong leader and to be part of a cause. Do you guys know the knitting cult lady, Daniela?
Love her. Love her.
I
Read her
love
book.
her. Yeah, thank you for reading her book. So I just had her on last week, and she's always my resource whenever I have a culty question. And then I'm always like texting Daniela, like, please help me understand this. And she talks about how the cult babies, they can leave the cult, but the cult doesn't leave them. And one of the big things with cult babies is you want to work and you want to be part of a cause and you want to have a leader. So it's really important, whether this kid's left or right, that those components that made him radicalized, they don't go away without a lot of therapy and a lot of work.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you that it's the same in evangelical, evangelical culture as well. Because one of the things, I was admin for a group for a while called the Evangelical Facebook group, and we have some Mormons in there too. But
nice.
the idea was that a lot of the things we would see would happen is people would be hard dogma for evangelicals, and then the next thing they do, they're suddenly hard dogma into atheism.
Yep.
Like there was no shades of gray in the middle. They're like radically evangelical, then radically atheist, and they would be evangelical for atheism after that. And it was does that make sense? Am I making sense, y'all? This is why I write and not talk. But yeah, it's you've got the mindset.
You're hardwired. You already have that operating system.
So really then, what becomes the fulcrum to break through the programming? What becomes that path to reach people and give them the off-ramp between either being kind of stuck in that position or worse, branching off into some kind of radicalism? I mean, where do we approach that from?
That's a really great question.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jenny. You're the guest.
No, go ahead.
I am a loud mouth.
I want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah. So it's mostly young men that I see this happening on the evangelical side. I cannot speak for Mormonism or anything like that, but like women who leave the church tend to they don't swing quite as wide as that, because like when you're a woman in a high control religion that devalues feminism, being female, you're born with those cracks in the system. You're told you're a second class citizen all your entire life, right? Like you are never as good as a man. So does this match up, Jenny?
Yeah, but I would say that in Mormonism, and I work with thousands of people and have for the past 7 years, it's typically the women that I work with that have some of the hardest struggles.
That's fair. Yeah, and it's that for me, it was being a woman that made it easy for me to leave and for me to think, because I had been told for years that so I'll speak only for me, not for anybody else.
And I do think, Vicky, to dovetail off what you're saying there, is that a lot of this discussion that we see in the media, that we see on shows like this one, typically focuses on the men, because the men are more likely to end up as shooters at these kind of events that happen. But there's women who are just as stuck in this, and
absolutely.
I feel like sometimes we don't really talk about that. So this was a good opportunity with you coming on, Jenny, to be able to get some insight into that.
The women's self-harm. I tried to end my life 6 weeks after I left the Mormon church, because being plunged into a nihilistic void while going through a divorce with tons of post-separation abuse, my whole life hitting rock bottom and just not even knowing which way was up. Like, oh, there's, the Book of Mormon isn't true and I'm no longer married, and just all of that. I tried to take my life. That's why I'm called Life Take Two, because I survived unaliving. I see that with a lot of people. I've had friends who, when they come out of their cults, whatever that organization is, whether it's MAGA or whatever, or when they radicalize, my female friends don't typically obviously become shooters. They harm themselves. It's more.
Yeah, that's fair. And I will tell you from my perspective, I was more into the idea, and I have never attempted. I have come close. I have walked on the dark side many, many times. I was more depressed when I was in religion than when I was out. And I will tell you, one of the things that helped me is that I had a strong friend group that was deconstructing at the same time as me, because it was so sudden, because what happened with my church was so sudden. There were 3 or 4 of us in a group chat at all times, and we were talking about it, and we were communicating about it, and we were unpacking together and exploring witchcraft and doing all the things you do after you leave the church, because you're looking for the divine feminine, because you've never had the divine feminine before. And where do you find the divine feminine? It's in like witchy cultures more than in other religions. I'm only speaking for myself and the people I know. And then you don't find it there, so you keep looking until you get to the point where you're pretty much agnostic, which is where I am now. But I had a supportive friend group, and I knew how to talk to people when I was in trouble. And I worry, and I'm going to say this, that the younger men haven't been taught the emotional intelligence of developing those deep, empathetic relationships with others. Is that not what you're thinking, Tim?
But I think that we can fix that. I think that we have all these problems.
You were shaking your head, so
this is so sad. Young men aren't connected, and we don't have those relationships. In the matter of just a couple of months, we can create a friend group. We can begin to build relationships and bond to other people. And I like to talk about the fixes whenever we talk about the problems, because if we just do a little bit of work, we can fix everything. My life was a disaster. Everything fell apart. I fixed everything. I've helped thousands of people deconstruct and then reconstruct their lives after leaving religious groups and after leaving MAGA and leaving bad relationships. I worked as a domestic violence advocate for a little while. Rebuilding just takes a little bit of work. We can fix that.
You've both talked about the impact of the depression of having the structure of your world kind of come apart. And as I've been sitting here thinking about listening to it, it's one of the most traumatic possible things for our psyche is to have the world that we're in taken apart. Now, usually when they talk about it in a psychological sense, we talk about things like, losing your job, losing a home, having to move, end of a major relationship. But this is the same traumatic elements, and it may not, perhaps to an outside observer, sound as potentially dramatic and impactful, but it deeply hits. It clearly did for both of you. I can't think of a comparable experience myself to even begin to relate on that one.
In it all. I wanted God to be real. I wanted God to care about me. I wanted God to I wanted that personal relationship that I was supposed to have for God. I will tell you, I really thought that when I was a child, I really thought there were people who were talking to God. Like, because they would say, I heard the still small voice of God, and be like, I've never heard that. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I'm not, I just need to be better. I need to sin less, whatever that is. Because like when you're taught, again, I only speak for evangelicalism. I'm going to be very clear on that. When you're taught all your life that, that you were born a sinful being, and that you're evil by your very nature, and the only thing that can save you is a strong, and I'm going to say this, white Jesus, then your very foundation is built on shaky ground. So you accept Jesus into your heart, and you believe that this is it. I found it. I feel good. I read my Bible all the time. I've read it through front to back and back to front several times at this point. I don't memorize scripture. I never did. That was not my skill set. So, but I can tell you about the stories. I can tell you about what happened when, and if you needed me to find something in there, I could. But the whole idea of it was that when I finally had to stop believing and it was like a breakup. I created a breakup playlist on Spotify. I mean, that's what it felt like. It felt like you're ripped from that safe space, and you're unmoored, and you're floating out into this large sea in a kayak, essentially. And every wave threatens to overturn you, and you just don't know what to do until you get through it. Eventually, you find land of some sort. And I worry that some of these young people, because I sound like an old lady, are finding it in some of these alt-right groups.
Well, they're finding in all kinds of groups, alt-right, left. Matt, I think that's a really keen observation of you to make, that leaving your religion is a trauma. And it is a loss of identity. So in the years that I've watched people deconstruct Mormonism, it's fun to see somebody else go through it, because you kind of get perspective where when you're going through it, it's, you're kind of blind to yourself. I watch people, and it's almost like friends who have immigrated to another country, and they have this culture shock, and everything's different, and they are not the same. They're not perceived the same. They're not part of the community that they were when they moved to, we had a friend that moved to Finland. I had a friend that moved to France. My American friend in France does not have the same identity that she did when she was here in Arizona. It's like that. It's like moving to a completely foreign country. It's so identity corroding to lose your faith. And of all of the things that I've gone through, my 24 years of domestic violence, I had a best friend who died tragically. I was the one who had the power of attorney, medical power of attorney for my grandmother. I had to make the decision to pull the plug on my grandma towards the end of her life. Like all of these traumatic things that I've been through, there is nothing that I've ever been through that was more just absolutely hopeless than losing my faith and everything that came with that. If I'm not a daughter of Heavenly Father who loves me, if I'm not part of this eternal family, if I'm not one of God's chosen, if the Book of Mormon isn't true, if nothing is real, then who am I? So it was the most traumatic thing. And it's funny because some of my non-Mormon friends, when I left the church, they were like high-fiving me like, oh, this is exciting. And then I get divorced too. And, oh, this is so exciting. Now you're a single lady. I wasn't excited. I was grieving. And I think it's really important for us as we see people make those transitions. If someone has left their religion, if they've left their political party, if they've left a marriage, if they've had those identity impacting transitions, we kind of need to be there to just like wrap them up in a hug and help them get grounded, help them to know that they're okay, because it was the most difficult thing that I've ever gone through. I was not excited that the Mormon church wasn't true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, same.
The world didn't make sense.
Like you said, it's everything. It's the center of the world has let go, and everything has gone flying in every direction.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And, another area that we'll often see this, not all, but a lot of folks that I know, and I think a number of Tim know, that have come out of the service, that come out, and it's a complete change of world, and struggling to find your feet under it. And in all these scenarios, you're without the support network they used to have, whether it be that you're without your family because they don't like what you've done.
My family shunned me. I haven't seen them for 7 years. I'm an orphan. I have nobody.
Yeah, so you no longer have that basis.
Thank you.
We're your family now.
Faith, the family, all the things that were the background of life for anyone's life, immediately stripped away. How could it not be a huge trauma? Yeah.
And your question about like, how do you get through that?
Yeah.
Without just finding yourself in another cult? Like you go from the right to the left. How do you avoid that? For me, I actually found myself in the situation that helps you avoid that just accidentally, because there was a pandemic. And Daniela, Knitting Cult Lady, my friend, when she talks about how to avoid getting into another cult, it's you have to create space to just not solve problems, not dive into the next thing. And the pandemic, I was at home, I was isolated, I had a brain injury, I was very sick, I'm high functioning disabled, I have an anoxic brain injury. I was just at home. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't join the next church. I couldn't get into the next group and form another community. I found myself just alone with my own thoughts. And that really is what's needed. The week after I left the Mormon church, I was in a Christian church, and I threw myself into Christianity. And that was the road that I was on. I was just replacing that hole in my soul that from leaving the Mormon church. And then that pandemic, like, I found myself because I listened to my own voice. All I could do was hike. The malls were closed, the restaurants were closed, everything was closed. I was at home with nobody, in a house in the middle of nowhere with no neighbors around me. And it really kept me from joining any other cult. So really, if you've had that transition, the answer is just giving yourself time, not diving into, well, what do I believe now? Have that space for, I'm going to put the pause on that. It doesn't matter what I believe. I'm going to get up, I'm going to eat breakfast, I'm going to get dressed, I'm going to go out in the world and try to quiet your mind and not fill those blanks in with a new radicalized ideology. And then creating space for not knowing, and tons of therapy. I have literally been in therapy every week for like 7 or 8 years. And part of that was court ordered because I had an abusive husband and needed a lot of help. But lots of therapy, lots of working with other individuals, and making sure that my friend group is people who are open-minded, who are supportive, and who are mentally healthy.
The knitting cult lady, why I like her. I follow her on TikTok. She does lovely chats, but like, she was in a actual cult, and she then joined the U.S. Army, and she talks a lot about how the U.S. Army is essentially a cult.
Because cult baby's got a cult. You got to have space and therapy, or else you're going to cult once again.
And I will say that as somebody who I much like you, I dived in. I tried to figure out what I believe, but I refused to join another religion. My rear end was never ever setting foot in a church again, unless forced. And I have been forced a few times. Unfortunately, people die, and I go to funerals. And I have been forced to go with my brother's family to his church because we finally stopped that. It took me a while, but I've gotten them to stop it. But the knitting cult lady is great. Y'all should be following her and reading her book. I think she has a second book coming out. Am I right?
She does. Yep, it's dropping soon, and it's the culting of America. It talks about
so you should read that book
and a bunch of things. So she's been working on it for 2 years before Trump even won the election. So fabulous stuff.
Some other books that I'd recommend people read, and Jennie, you might enjoy these too. They are there's and I recommend them a lot on the page. I'm going to be honest, these are my 2 favorite books to recommend to help understand how we got here from there, essentially. And it's called One Nation Under God, and it's by Kevin Cruzy. He talks about how corporate America built the Christian right, and it started back in the 1930s, where he essentially the business people hated FDR, and so they started building these foundations, these religious foundations, and giving them money. And what essentially happened is that, like, these foundations would send out sermon notes to evangelical churches, and that people would be preaching their sermons, not their own, because Christianity in the 1930s America was fairly socialist. There is I read another book called The Making of a Biblical Womanhood. Again, I've read my way out of Christianity, so I can't speak for other people, but that also works. By Beth Allison Barr, that talks about how in the 1930s there were women preachers in the Southern Baptist Church. That would never happen today. And the other book is Jesus and John Wayne by Kristen Cruz Dumez. Kristen Dumez Cruz. I cannot remember exactly the order of her name, but it talks a lot about the rise of the Christian right in the 70s, 80s, and 90s through Falwell, Dobson, all of those people. And it is a fantastic book that will help you understand how the Christian religious side of things have sort of developed into right-wingers, because that wasn't always the case.
It's interesting, the money and power. They always go with every movement, right? As I was kind of researching, because I'm doing a couple videos this week on Erica Kirk, who doesn't even use Charlie's last name. She uses her maiden name everywhere. When I was part of the Christian right, I was projecting an image. I was projecting, the stay-at-home mom, and I really was. I was a trad wife, but I was projecting this stuff to the world that not all of it was completely accurate. And a lot of these people, Ballerina Farm, who's the ultimate trad wife, the queen of the trad
your video
wives, she's a working woman. She wakes up every morning now at like 5:30 in the morning. They own this bakery there in Midway, Utah, and she works beside her husband, and she is projecting this submissive wife stuff that doesn't exist. Erica Kirk and Charlie Kirk, they are talking about women being submissive, women not working. Charlie Kirk talked about women working all the time, and his own wife runs multiple businesses. She has nonprofit organizations. She has a Christian merch, like a whole clothing collection that's like modest and kind of trendy. They're absolutely hypocrites. Like every Christian influencer that I know is the most ultimate hypocrite that you could ever possibly see. And they're selling something to the masses that they're not doing themselves. Why? Because they're making money off of it. Because it's power.
If you want to go from Ballerina Farm, there are there's a ton of them who are doing from evangelical Christianity, like the Duggars is a good example, because the women are the ones making the money because they're running channels and stuff, so that their husbands don't have to do as much. There's Girl Meets. It's not Girl Meets World, because that's a television show, but there is Girl Defined or something like that, and her name is Bethany, and she makes she runs businesses. Essentially, she's not just doing it on her channel. She pretends that she's a submissive Christian woman, but she's just not, because she is the one earning most of the money in her family. If you want to know a fun channel to follow, Jennie, Fundy Fridays does great videos on stuff like this. Jordan and McKay. Yeah, they're on YouTube.
I already follow. Yeah, I follow Fundy Fridays.
Of course you do.
Yeah. And I follow Jordan McKay.
Jordan and McKay. That was where I was going to go to.
Follow Jordan and McKay. Yeah.
Yeah, they did. If you want to know who broke the Ruby Frankie story first, I would argue that Jordan and McKay had been following it for years before the story broke big. They were very concerned about the children for years. There you go. That's the thing. I don't have anything else to say. So, boys, I think I'm leaving it up to you to ask more questions.
We fully exhausted Admin
Don't
B.
put it all on me.
Believe that.
I was about to go get on the beach.
Need to be a few more drinks in, boss.
Tim is well rested and ready to go.
Yeah. All right. Tim comes on the close.
Tim, you have a quote that I'm going to use in my video tomorrow. I'm doing a video on the denim revolution. It's America's answer to the Velvet Revolution, and I'm outlining a nonviolent resistance that I think that everybody should participate in. And so I'm using your quote, "When injustice becomes law, resistance becomes duty." I absolutely love that. Did you originate that, or did you get that from somewhere?
I want to say yes, but I would be a fucking liar. I did not originate that. I don't know where it comes from. But
I'd never heard it until it was out of your mouth.
Yeah, I was seeing a girl a woman, excuse me, when I got out of the army and got divorced. She was working for the National Security Agency, and she's telling me that all the time. So I don't know where she came up with it, but I've seen it elsewhere. So I'm sure I could Google it, but no, that's not me. But you're welcome to say "get fucked and die mad" about it. That's
Thank you. I
that
have
one is
people
mine.
saying they're my favorite fangirl and stuff. You guys, I'm reading the comments, but I can't type responses to comments and be on a screen at the same time. It just jams my brain. So, mwah, thank you, everybody.
That is the same. I read the comments as well. Got them up on StreamYard here.
Oh
and
yeah. I have to read them to make sure that there's nobody in there that's like you.
There was a couple of weird ones tonight.
Yeah, we had a few. I was like, oh, I hope Tim takes care of those. But yeah,
I'm gonna call this shit out to me. I can't catch everything, especially when I walk away to make.
Well, it's like it's obvious when it's someone saying something like, you know, bigoted or sexist or dumb, and it's just like, all right, thanks, bye, Trump supporter bot.
There's other ones who just like several typos,
right?
I mean,
you need the caps with the typos.
Yeah,
there'll be ones.
Are the panel worried that Trump might use the Kurtz shooting as an excuse to put more troops on the streets? I heard him just speaking today saying that he was going to send troops into California, something about water. I just think that we should all be worried that Trump is just mentally unraveling. So, yeah, he's going to use everything.
I'm worried that I'm sorry, I keep interrupting you, Jenny. I apologize.
It's okay.
It's ADHD. The once I have a thought, I have to share it. It's a problem. So Trump's going to put troops for water. Keep going. I apologize.
Oh, that's okay. You know, that's all I know. And whoever has the connections with Gavin, please hook us up. I've had a couple of publicists and somebody who works in his office building reach out to me. So I've been in contact with 6 of the senators that I'd like to connect with, but I would definitely prefer right now to be volunteering my time with Governor Newsom. So thank you so much. If you can connect me with him, I would like to volunteer my time with his campaign.
Yep. And I'm gonna go with also the what I was saying is that what I'm worried about, and I wrote about it today, is that they're going to use his death to clamp down on leftist free speech. There were that was my topic for today in the little blog that I write, and that I think is a bigger concern, because that feels like, I'm going to be honest, it feels like what happened in 1930s Germany, which I've been tracking. It's like they're using it as a checklist. I'm concerned about that.
I was going to say, in the background here right now, I have a friend of mine who leans right, who is just blasting my DMs with links to Twitter things, with claims of things that leftist influencers have allegedly said, and like, you know, casual glances, they're bullshit. But it's all of X. All of X is putting out the same nonsense, the same narrative that everyone who's left of Trump has to immediately be silenced. Everyone
to just Darvo
immediately be disarmed. By the way, ironic as hell is that the guys who were usually with some of us on the Second Amendment stuff are now like, no, we definitely need disarmament by the government now.
It is what we call every accusation a confession.
You know what I said in the video, like what, yesterday or whatever? I said, who gives a shit what MAGA thinks? If don't tailor your content, or in the case of people who just casually post on the internet, your comments, your posts, whatever it is that you're doing, when they see that and they have that negative reaction, like, how dare you? Who gives a fuck? These are the same people that cheer on every gross, disgusting, vile, obscene, profane, foul, dishonest, garbage hot take from the all caps guy who's in shit with, thank you for your attention to this matter. That guy mocked the disabled. He was like, hey, remember this? Remember that guy? I don't give a shit what MAGA thinks. If they have a problem with what I say, fuck them. Fuck them.
That was pretty direct.
Don't comply in advance is my general statement, is that we do not comply in advance. We don't do that. And of course, Tim takes it more profane than I do. But today I was like, they can't get us all. The more people speaking out, the better.
Yeah, and I think that that's really the secret to everything, is that we have to unite, and not just the leftists, the liberals, the atheist feminists like me. We as a nation need to unite once again and not let these people at the top rip us apart. I'm afraid that Charlie Kirk will become that shot heard around the world, and that he, with his radicalized base behind him, that Trump, this is a Kaiser Wilhelm moment, and we're stepping into an arena that we haven't seen before. This is a shocking tragedy. Charlie Kirk is beloved by Trump's base, and everything about him, that he's this young dad, he leaves behind the grieving wife and the 2 young children, and it's a terrible tragedy. And it's very emotionally jarring. And I think that it's very divisive.
And the fact that we all saw it on video too. I think that's a big part of it as well. Because I watched the second video thinking it had been a graze, because that's what I saw. And we all watched it in the admin chat. It was not a graze. And I was like, oh, he's dead.
That was I immediately pinged 2 different guys I know who were combat medics, and another guy who's an ER doc, to get kind of like their immediate take on, do we just see this guy die? Is this, they're saying he's in critical condition. Is this recoverable? And the consensus from all 3 was no. That was not what they had seen. Not something that people were going to survive.
I'm going to read you a comment I got from a friend that I went to school with. When I posted first, I was like, and I said, I'm conflicted about his death because of his views on the Second Amendment, but I feel a lot of sympathy for his family. I'm praying. Blah, blah, blah. And this is the quote, and I'm not going to tell you his name because we are very public, but I was so mad about it. You are not conflicted. You are not.
I know the name.
You are a predator who feeds on tragedy when it suits your politics. Every word you typed is proof that you've lost the most basic shred of decency. Normal people feel horror when someone is shot and killed. You feel excitement because you think you won some sort of twisted ideological point. That just makes you hypocritical, not just hypocritical, but vile on a human level. You glorify violence against people you disagree with. And then pretend the left are helpless saints. That's not morality. It's cowardice wrapped in delusion. You've abandoned empathy and replaced it with tribal hatred and then dress it up as compassion. The truth is, you are the kind of person who looks at a family torn apart by murder and thinks, how does this benefit me? That's not political passion. It's rot in your soul. You are a globe masquerading as a human being. And if there's anything more dangerous than violence itself, it's people who cheer it on while pretending that his hands are clean. Now, y'all know me. That is
it's a lot.
Not what I have done.
It was a lot.
I'm sorry. Can I laugh for a little bit? Hey, how are you, Jenny, by the way?
Hi. Hello. Wait, tell me your name.
Drill Sergeant Doug. Just call me Doug.
Okay, Drill Sergeant. Yeah, I've been listening to y'all in my pocket, so like seeing your faces on screen, because I haven't totally seen the video. So hello, Drill Sergeant Doug.
All right, hello. I love your work. And
thank you.
I just wanted to laugh really quick, V. Just make sure that you ask that person, how do they feel about masked men separating families in streets for the past 2 months?
Oh, he's fine with it. This guy, after the 2016 election, after I bled all over the internet about being a sexual assault survivor, essentially, who had exactly what happened to me, what Donald Trump said he did, grab him by the pussy. And as a college student, that happened to me, and I was like, that was vile and uncomfortable and not fun at all. He reached out to me after the election, and he put in his comments that, how do you feel crying those liberal tears now? And I didn't like, I thought I blocked him then, but apparently I had not. He's blocked now.
There's
but
some bad apples out there.
So
yeah, he went
he
to high school.
telling me, let him know he definitely provided me with a good laugh. I just came in just in time to hear his bullshit, but I'll let you
Yeah.
respond to it.
So I'm not conflicted by Charlie Kirk's death. Nobody should die. I am conflicted by Charlie Kirk's silence, but I would have preferred that he had just decided not to keep speaking the things that he was speaking about out there publicly, and maybe just had a little bit of a change of heart and been less aggressive. So
That's where
I'm not,
Jenny.
yeah, but I'm not at all conflicted about Charlie Kirk's death. It is abhorrent. It is horrifying. And the fact that this is the state that we're at right now, the fact that there's a 22-year-old kid whose life took this path, that he's radicalized, buying guns, etching bullets. And I mean, I have kids this age. I have a 22-year-old daughter. To imagine my 22-year-old getting up in the morning and driving 4 hours in advance to some event to end the life of a father and a husband, somebody's son, is a tragedy. I have absolutely zero conflicted emotions about the death of Charlie Kirk.
My conflicted emotions are generally that, one, he was a horrible person. We're gonna come right out and say it. He advocated for a lot of shitty things. His last words were a racist dog whistle, right? But I still feel empathy for his family who lost their father and their husband and their son. Because
I have a hard time blaming him, though, because I was him just a couple of years ago. I was a hateful, racist, Mormon, MAGA, trad wifey. And I would hate to think that my life would have been cut short, or that I would have been the act of violence and then not had the opportunity to find my way into something else. People who espouse any type of ideology, whether it's far left or far right, there's a reason for that. It's usually childhood indoctrination. It's usually growing up in a community where those toxic ideologies are reinforced all the time, and they don't realize that they have bad ideas. So I don't even like saying that Charlie Kirk was a terrible person. I didn't like his ideas. I have a phone full of videos. I have files on my computer of things that I was going to do response videos for long before what happened yesterday. His ideas rubbed me the wrong way. But as somebody who survived childhood indoctrination, that literally I was 3 years old when I was being taught to be a racist. At age 3, I was being indoctrinated into white supremacy. I have absolute compassion for Charlie Kirk. I think that he was passionate about what he was doing because that was the pot that he was cooked in his whole entire life. And I don't hate him. Never would. I have a lot of sympathy for people like him.
So to bring it full round then, it gets back to our earlier question is, what do you do to reach them?
Well, wait a minute. Could I respond to what she just said right there? I see two things happening here. And by the way, I have religiously watched your show since I found it about 2 months ago.
Thank you so much. You guys.
Just so you know.
Thank you.
Just two things. What you're saying there, two responses. One is you are the absolute best reason to advocate for nonviolent politics, to advocate against shooting someone, because you never know what they could have become. You never know where they could have gone had they lived a little bit longer. That is a fact. You are proof of that fact. You being proof of that fact are the perfect person to say what you just said. Then there's another side of this, which is every moment that Charlie Kirk was alive, he was a threat to me and my family. All of them. And me walking beside him is a threat to my son's father, because the people who he surrounded himself with would have killed me if I was on a dark road. That has to be balanced. So when people are conflicted, it's because at that same time that you are the proof of what can happen, my father is the proof of what did happen. And to balance both of those things can be conflicting, and it may not be for you because you understand that you have a certain privilege, or it doesn't. You can change, and you are the best person to get someone to change. Anyone else trying it, if I'm to tell my son how to feel, I'm also not conflicted, and it's not the way that you do. Now, for the country, I'm not conflicted on that side either. It's horrible. All it's going to do is worsen everything. All this is going to do is promote violence. But I just wanted to explain that difference to you, as to I understand why what you're saying, and you're the perfect person to say that. Also, when someone else is conflicted, the reason why is because it's just as dangerous, maybe, for that person in their mind, for him to have been around. And the last piece is, was he not a bad person? I don't think that the answer is he wasn't a bad person, because he could have changed. He's a bad person who could have changed into a good one. I think that your ex-husband is a bad person. Mm-hmm. I think he still has the
Thank you for hating Jake for me.
Wait. But guess what?
We all hate Jake, right? Everybody here hate Jake?
Everybody who
Can
hates
we get
Jake.
some hate for Jake?
So
how's that? What does that 1984 go? 3-minute hate?
Yeah, the 3-minute hate. I just finished it again for like the 10th time here last week.
Oh God, the 3-minute
Jake hate.
And that's why people tune in for that 2-hour hate.
Oh, there you go.
So I think he's a bad person. I think he still has the time to change into a good one, maybe. But Charlie Kirk was a bad person. He didn't have the time to change into a good one. But let's not act like he wasn't a bad person. Let's not act like, because he had potential, what was actual energy, not potential energy, his actual kinetic energy, the movement in the street and the way he was rolling was horrible and disgusting. And he spouted it willingly on his own, of his own volition, as an adult. He was a bad person.
It doesn't matter if you're an adult, though, if you've been indoctrinated.
Well, but also
it doesn't matter. He was acting with integrity for what he had been raised. So I think that we want a quick fix, right? Like, we want to just crumble all of these people right now. And like, how do we get out of this MAGA cult running America? We have to play the long game. First, we start legislating against childhood indoctrination. We make sure that children are protected so that they aren't just indoctrinated into these cults. And you know what? That's happening. The younger generations, they are half as religious as their parents are. We make sure that education is prioritized. We don't let, kids get sucked into these things. And I think that we start building bridges to people, so that you have friends that are MAGA. Like it was literally my lesbian friends who took me under their wings when I was secretly hating them, thinking that they were evildoers and that they were under the influence of Satan, but they didn't care. Like, they knew all that. They knew that I was Mormon, and they signed up for my, essential oil MLM anyway. And they treated me like a human. They looked past all of that. If we don't start building bridges to some of these people, the Charlie Kirks and our MAGA friends and neighbors, if we don't start connecting human to human and playing that long game and protecting the children for future generations, then it is going to end up in an all-out war.
And I'm going to add to that. I don't think everybody can do that, and it's everybody's responsibility to do that.
Absolutely. Yep.
Because some people, it is not safe for them to do that. For people, and me and you, Jenny, and Matt, and Tim, we can do that. That's why I am still in contact with much of my family, because I can push back against the racism. I'll tell you that my mother, whenever she says something racist around me now, she stops herself. I don't have to say anything, because she says, I heard it too, Vicky, and she does it. But it's super, super important that those of us who were able to do what you said, to be that voice of dissent. I'm still in my brother's life, because I believe that I can change him. And my brother loved Charlie Kirk. Let's be very blunt here. He is one of the people who were radicalized by Charlie Kirk as much as anything. So it is my responsibility to push back against those ideas. But I am conflicted about Charlie Kirk's death, primarily because what has happened today, like the HBCUs, the Black colleges and universities were under bomb threats yesterday because of his death.
And a couple today as
There
well.
have been a lot of my trans friends have been under threat because of his death. I am conflicted because I do think he said bad things, and I too was
Yes.
once a racist and once a internalized misogynist and all of those things. But I'm conflicted because I'm worried about the meaning of what his death means for
And
us
Vicki,
all.
I don't think that any of that's a negative, because I have a lot of friends too who other creators, most of my friends are content creators. Most of my friends are other, podcasters on
Yeah.
YouTube and other places. A lot of people are getting a lot of hate. I'm getting a lot of hate today. And I don't think that that's a negative, because these, the phrase, give somebody a rope, they'll hang themselves. I think that the Christian nationalists, the people in my community, some of this has been brewing below the surface for a long time. And I've been screaming about it for 7 years, because I hear the private conversations at the dinner tables and I'm like, this is not going in a good direction.
Yep.
Like Project 2025 and all the stuff that my Mormon friends and the alt-right preppers that that's my whole life. I've been screaming since I left this community that this is not going in a direction that people want it to go in, but they were all still kind of like keeping up appearances, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that when we let them drop the mask and we see these people attacking trans, and we see these people, like some of my best friends now are trans people, when we see them attacking the atheists and the feminists and the, just because you're a Democrat and you voted for Biden, you have a Biden sticker on the back of your Jeep and somebody's, screaming obscenities at you. When we see them take off the masks, then everybody around them will know exactly who they are. I don't think that it hurts to shine a light. Sticks and stones will break our bones. It's if it turns into all out violence, that's when we have to worry about it. But I actually think that it's a positive that we are seeing some of this radicalization for what it is.
Yeah.
And it's sad. Like I get attacked all the time. So my friends get attacked all the time.
Yeah,
it shows us a problem.
We do get our share of hate mail, and it seems to have been a lot higher this week. I know I was putting together a little highlight reel for admin Tim earlier today with the things people had to say. Not always the best things, but it's so comments. Yeah,
it's hard, and I still don't
uptick this week. It has been a real big uptick this week.
Doug, I still don't blame Charlie Kirk, even though he was an adult. And I just want to circle back to that really quick, because he is the product of a system. And again, having come from that system, there was no way, even at age 26, 32, 41, that I could have eradicated myself from brainwashing, because childhood indoctrination is so pernicious. When I was being taught to walk, when I was being taught this is a spoon, this is a fork, the sky is blue, the grass is green, I was also being taught the Book of Mormon and brown skin is a curse from God and America is the promised land and Jesus is coming back sometime in your generation. I was being taught faith as truth, and that is something that you cannot overlook. So I wasn't to blame for being MAGA. I was born before the priesthood land. Yeah. So I didn't know any black people. They couldn't even go to church. They couldn't get baptized. Well, they could go to church. They couldn't get baptized. They couldn't go to the temple. So who's really to blame? Joseph Smith is to blame. The Bible is to blame. The pastors who have trickled this stuff down and created this tinderbox that's now exploding in people like Charlie Kirk, but Charlie Kirk is just the apple. It's the tree. And the tree is what I care about as somebody who has survived these groups myself. We need to chop at the system. We need to make sure that we dig it up by the roots. And we need to, whatever happens to the apples, wherever they fall, but we need to get at the systems and we need to blame the systems. I look at people who are parts of these radicalized ideologies as victims, because they are. And I work with thousands of them. I have heard the stories of so many people who have come out of horrible cults where they've harmed children, where they've done terrible things. And once they start to see better and know better, and once they start to recover, they have so much regret for the things they did. I was a MAGA monster. I was a Mormon beast. I was indoctrinated. They are victims. I was a victim. And we need to treat that as such. So I still don't hate Charlie Kirk. I don't blame Charlie Kirk. He was acting in integrity in the system. The apple tree that he was growing on, he was being the best apple that he possibly could. We need to get to systems that teach people hate, that teach division, that teach us to harm other humans.
I absolutely agree. number one, with chopping at the system. In this place, I mainly am kind of like the motivator for the SOL people in the chat and elsewhere, and for people to wake up. But it doesn't mean that I don't agree with what you're saying there. That is the truth of our moment. Is no matter how many of these people on any side that we decide to go after, unless we start going after the system, the 1%, start bringing that idea together, we really won't win anything. We won't reach anywhere. So that in itself is profound. Yes, and I agree. Charlie Kirk, I believe that you being indoctrinated, or anyone else who's indoctrinated to be a racist or this or that, is different than someone who actually does a thing, an actual act that is abhorrent. So I give you this question, and I'm also changing because I'm listening open-mindedly, and you give me a lot to think about. So we'll start there. I'm going to continue on my journey with understanding and trying to understand myself and how I want to approach this because of what you said and what you've been saying. I'm going to give a hypothetical just to give a devil's advocate.
I love hypotheticals.
Yeah, they're awesome. If someone had done an essay or an absolute vulgar, violent act to someone that I didn't necessarily like, I mean, I'm talking about violent, bloody act, and was sent to jail. And then somebody told me, I'm going to bail them out because I don't like you. Is that person a bad person? Not because of how they were raised, but because of that act. You don't, no matter how you're raised, your parents didn't raise you to bail out a murderer or someone who beat somebody else up, an innocent person up, just for spite. There is no doctrine in Mormon or otherwise that would say that that's okay, right? That person is a bad person despite how they were raised. When Charlie Kirk said, I want the Patriots to bail out the person who beat up the person who, with a hammer in his hand, beat up Nancy Pelosi's husband. When he came out and said that, it went past his raising, his ignorance, and his upbringing into a person who wished violence and death on someone else and was willing to even go so far as to bail out someone who caused an injury just to spite someone he doesn't like, which I know he wasn't raised to be, which I know he doesn't teach his kids to be, which I know his mother never told him would be okay. I guarantee you that. That is not the product of just being raised a certain way. I don't think that you would have done, well, maybe if somebody told you to, maybe, but I don't think that of your own volition, just being raised that way also turns you into that. Just like I don't think that the person who shot this guy is he doesn't get off scot-free because of how he may be raised. Once you pass that decision to do something illegal, hurtful, disgusting, and to someone else, it goes from being living with integrity, how you believe things should be, to hurting someone and doing something you know is wrong.
Radicalization, though, I think that you're using the wrong word. You're talking about being raised. Radicalization continues through your whole entire life. And that's where these insular communities, like when I was MAGA and all of my friends were part of that community, you know, all my friends were alt-right. They were either Christian, evangelical, Mormon, every single one of my neighbors, all of our school teachers, everybody that I knew. So yes, I was raised this certain way. But then when I was 26, 27, 28, all the way into my 40s, I was still being taught. I was still being indoctrinated. I was still under the mind control of a community who lived to control my mind and the mind of everybody around them. So that's where the cult of Trump is so toxic and so dangerous. Because it's not just that Charlie Kirk was raised that way, or whoever is part of MAGA. When I was MAGA, it's not just that I was raised that way. It's that then every second of every moment of my day was reinforcing those ideologies. So Charlie Kirk, what could have saved him? I don't know, maybe like if he just went away for 2 years on a desert island with just his wife and his kids and detached from all of social media and just had his own thoughts, because that's what got me out of everything. There was a pandemic. I didn't have good Wi-Fi at our little house in the middle of nowhere, and I mostly read books and slept and went for walks. And I was alone with my own thoughts, and then eventually a really good therapist, and I was able to deconstruct the grasp, like indoctrination. When you have a high demand leader like Donald Trump, like all of these powerful people inside of the MAGA party, it's like they have their fingers in your brain 24/7. And it's not just about being raised. It's about every second of every moment of every breath you take.
I'm going to add to that, if that's okay. What I'm adding to it is that had I stayed home to go to college, I might still be in the cult. For me, it was indeed getting away from the indoctrination that started the process. It took me 20 years to get there, but I went to college and I met people who weren't Christian. I met people who were of a different faith than me. I met my friend Tristan, who is now non-binary, but at the time we lived in a girls' dorm, and they identified as bisexual, and I was able to ask all my questions about that. I think information is the death of cult thinking, but we have to get people early. Charlie Kirk was 31 years old. He was making money off of the grift, essentially leading the thing. There was opportunism for him, and there was not as much motivation for him to change as for those of us who are, how shall we say this nicely, poor people. So when you have to factor all of that in there, because yes, he was radicalized as a young person, but he stayed radicalized because it benefited him. And I think we need to figure out how that matters in this conversation. But for people who are just Joe Schmo on the street, I think that we have to constantly present them with new information. It may not, we don't know what's going to be the thing that changes their mind. For me, yeah, go ahead, Doug. I can let you go.
I was going to say, I don't want Tim to forget his thought. He was about to say something, but I don't want him to forget that. What were you about to say?
Oh, I was about to say that, like, I took an English class in college. Oh, Matt or Tim, which one of us?
Tim was about to say.
He means that way.
Yeah, my way is this way.
Yeah.
Big Stars was about to say
something this way, but he means that way.
He was like a little kid with his hand raised for like 10 minutes.
He did. He kept raising his hand. Everybody kept talking.
Tim, you're so polite. I love that about you.
I can be polite. I'm also not. I forgot what I was going to say. I wanted to echo Jenny's comments about the radicalization and just from an early age, because I grew up in sometimes grew up because my parents not always together. I grew up in a religious household, and it was very strong. Like the thing that got me away from being like a registered Republican who voted conservative, because that was what I was taught was the right way to go, was basically the abrupt sense of abandonment by the people that sent us to fucking war. That was my catalyst. For other people, they have different catalysts. You don't just like wake up one day and be like, you know what? I think today I want to smoke pot and be an atheist. It doesn't happen like that. Something happens that drags you forcibly out of that bubble or shakes the entire foundation of your world.
There's two
I don't
things.
know.
There's rock bottom or inspiration. Those are the two impetus for change. Either you
Or
hit
bullet
rock
to
bottom,
the
you
next.
lose everything, or you see somebody else who's doing something better. Those are the two factors.
There you go. Rock bottom for me. Well, actually, and inspiration, because in a way, I had just joined this group called Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans of America, IAVA, and it was run by a guy who witnessed 9/11 from, he was a Wall Street stockbroker and saw the World Trade Center collapse, like was literally right there watching it. And he joined up within a couple of days and was, spent several years fighting. I joined them and they're like, we're getting this legislation pushed through. These politicians are blocking it and these politicians are not. And you look at the list and it's like most of them are R's on one column and D's on the other. I'm like, I thought the fucking Democrats hate the military. So for me, that was my catalyst of getting out of this cult-like activity. So I don't have all the answers. Like I'm one of those people, like I'm not conflicted about Charlie Kirk's death. Like for me, I separate the act of political violence from the fact that somebody died who was in life not a nice person or not a good person. He might have been a nice person. I don't know. Let me say not a good person in terms of how I view the world and how a lot of other people view the world. That person died, and to me, I'm not losing any sleep over it. And I'm not going to dance on the guy's grave, like I said, but I'll certainly read an obituary with relish from the perspective of this guy caused a lot of harm to a lot of people and said a lot of mean things and nasty things about a lot of people that other people echoed and parroted and believed. And what resonated with me, Jenny, was when you said that from his perspective, he was being true to what he knew. On the one hand, I hate that I agree with that because I know exactly where that's coming from. But on the other, there's also a part of me that's like, how do you grow up in the world today? And I know the answer to this. So this is not like a logical thing. It's just a reflexive knee-jerk thing from my perspective as super woke lefty lib guy, whatever. How do you grow up in the world today and think that these things are okay? But then on the flip side of that, I understand that a lot of people on the right see the things that liberals and leftists believe, and they're like, how is that okay? So I get it, but it doesn't mean that I necessarily agree with it. But for me, and I pushed out some content today on the Sons of Liberty socials. It was a little picture post basically that just said, don't ask me to have empathy when you had none. And you had no empathy for all these people, liberals that were the victim of violence. And when you say this man was a father, I don't care, because so were people like Philando Castile and George Floyd. Whether they were good fathers or not, they were still fathers. And it's not for me to judge because I don't know. I don't know anything about their situation. Just as I don't know Charlie Kirk's situation. I know he was a father. I know what it was that he believed on a personal and spiritual level. So I don't know how that was going to translate to him raising his kids. And we're not ever going to get the chance to find out. So for me, like I'm coming at this from a different perspective. But in terms of political violence, and I realize that I run a rabble-rousing organization that says things. And a lot of people are like, hell yeah, I'm glad he's dead. And they can interpret the things that we say any number of ways. But from my perspective, political violence is not something that the left ever really needs to get on board with until it's one of those situations where like, well, we are now in a full-blown, like an actual civil war, not just, a war of ideologies.
Yeah. At that point, it's not political violence, though, right? At that point, we're in an active hot war or self-defense.
Like fight for survival. Which is why when, people say, well, what, who stands to benefit from Charlie Kirk's death, when they were talking about, who the suspect could have been. And nobody on the left, the vast majority of people on the left understand that, this type of situation is going to make shit worse for everybody, not just leftists, et cetera, but also, people on the right. And the interesting thing to me is this beef between Nick Fuentes, who had his little army of groypers, and they're also like alt-right, far-right people. I don't know what the beef was about between the two of them, but it was bad enough that Nick Fuentes essentially made a public statement telling people in his little faction, I disavow public violence, and if you take up arms, I'm disavowing you. I will disown you in the strongest terms possible. And to me, that's really important for a number of reasons. But the fact that he said it, like he came out and said, I disavow you, I'll disown you in the strongest possible terms, is not what we're about. And Nick Fuentes is the guy who said, your body, my choice. Like he was advocating for sexual assault and rape against women. So I'm like, maybe his lawyer told him to say that. I don't know. But to me, I think if a guy like Nick Fuentes is coming out and saying that, more people on the left and the right ought to follow suit. And I fucking resent having to agree with that guy.
Well,
It's
I just
stop talking right twice a day.
It's the second time I've had to agree with that guy.
And I agreed with Marjorie Taylor Greene earlier this week. I felt like I was in the upside down.
I remember that.
Weird week.
I remember that.
So this is
doing now.
For those who are asking about the kitty cat. I do not have a black cat. I only have an orange one. And he is very friendly. And I was trying to give y'all kitty cat content while Tim was talking.
As one does.
As one does.
Cat ladies unite.
Are you a cat? Are you a cat lady, Jenny?
I'm allergic. I love cats.
Oh, no.
I want a cat. I've thought about getting one of those hypoallergenic cats, but I'm so allergic.
Yeah.
So I have cat
should
envy,
try
I
the
guess.
cat food that's allergy proof, because that's what this is, and it's been life changing for me. I had a cat prior to this who passed away a couple of years ago, and her name was Gypsy, and she was a sweet old lady who was like 19 years old when she passed. And I was allergic, and I swore I'd never get another cat, and I lied, because here we are.
Can we talk about something that's been missing for the past 48 hours in public dialogue?
Yes.
And that is any focus and accountability with Donald Trump and the other circus of creeps who were involved with Jeffrey Epstein.
Yep.
Yep.
Yes.
I haven't heard anything. I don't see any
distraction.
Epstein file hashtags. Nobody's talking about it. It has completely disappeared. So I would just like to vote right here. Like, I think I can get it unanimously. Who wants to start diving back into Epstein once again? Let's mourn Charlie Kirk. Let's mourn the system that created who he was. Let's mourn the system. Let's grieve for the system that has pitted Americans against one another. This divided states of America makes me grieve. It terrifies me. Let's unite in wanting those damn Epstein files. All in favor?
All in favor.
Absolutely.
Aye.
And I think we have finally identified someone who has benefited from this whole debacle.
Yep.
Because it's taken the focus off what's going on in D.C. right now. It's taken the focus off
and
the vote in the Senate. It took the focus off the effort in the House. And it's taken the effort off of groups like us who have been distributing what information has trickled out, like the emails. We didn't even get to talk about the emails yet.
Mm-mm.
I mean,
and I would argue that
really damning stuff in there.
In Washington about it. I'm glad of that. I've seen some videos across my TikTok today with that.
They just put out the birthday book, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I've been combing through it with a fine-tooth comb, finding a few disgusting things in there, a few damning things in there.
It's jaw-dropping. That birthday book, the fact that all of these people were so comfortable writing this and putting it in a book, and the things that they were saying. I'm a mom to girls this age. Like, I spent last weekend with my stepdaughter who's 14. And it just infuriates me that these adults are so comfortable. I'm giving this to, again, who's going to put this in a book. It's going to be bound. They're all so comfortable.
It was leather bound and held in high regard so that they could recount their stories.
These are psychopaths. These are the people that I hate. It's not Charlie Kirk. It's not the Charlie Kirks of the world. It's these guys. These guys are inflicting incredible harm on children. It's disgusting. That birthday book makes my blood boil.
Go ahead.
That was what I was going to ask. I just remembered what it is. You said you left the Mormon church and then like in very short order you were back in the Christian church.
A week later.
A week later.
Well, because I thought the Book of Mormon was keeping me from knowing the real Jesus. And honestly, a week of having that vacuum of like, oh my God, I don't have a church was just so uncomfortable and so ungrounding to me that like, oh my God, I have to have a church. So the next week I went to a church, and then I kind of turned that church into my Mormon church. Like I went all the time. I had like 2 Bible studies. I needed training wheels to get out of the Mormon church. What's your question, Tim?
My question is, where do you stand on the subject of religion and faith today? Because I'm over here like swearing like a sailor.
Yeah, I'm an atheist. I don't see any evidence for God. So 2 years ago, I broke up with Jesus, and now I am officially cult free as far as I know. Who knows?
So
I'm agnostic.
Saying shit, fuck, damn, ass cock. It's just like you're not like oh. Okay.
I have so many grandmas on my YouTube that like my grandmas don't like it when I cuss. So I cuss a lot in real life, but I've gotten the habit of when I'm online, like I don't fucking say all the stuff that's in my head, because my grandmas are always in my comment section. When I cuss, I have to actually say, dear grandmas,
all the profane grandmas are in my comment section.
Yeah.
That's where they are. Like, I'm a 70-year-old lady and God damn it, I'm mad.
So I wanted to ask a question pertaining to the Mormon church because I figured having you here could help out with some insight. I know about just about every church has this issue, but because the Mormon church is so quiet and so I guess sneaky and well kept as a secret. What is that? What is SA like there? What is there a culture of that in the Mormon church like there is in basically every other church that I know? Is it okay? I know that there's also things like polygamy.
Okay.
And is there what is that like? The whole sexual dominance SA thing like in the Mormon church in your eyes that you've seen?
So the sad thing is what's that? I said the sad thing is I could answer that, but go ahead, Jenny.
I mean, first of all, just like growing up in the Mormon church, when that was like my whole community, so I didn't know what the outside world was like. There was just always something like one of my 14-year-old friends who had like a 26-year-old school teacher that was Mormon that like first molested her and then they got married. And like so many of my friends, like my little cousins, we had a grandpa who was a sexual predator who did horrible things to everybody except for me. He was like the other cousin's grandpa, he wasn't my grandpa. And then eventually he killed himself. And so he's no longer here. Like my whole entire life was just this giant SA experience growing up. And one of the problems with that, one of the reasons for that is that the Mormon church deals with things internally. So, for instance,
yeah, that's right.
My ex-husband, when I found out about his double life, I marched him into our Mormon bishop. He made this confession. He spent days and days and days confessing to the priesthood leaders about abuse towards me and some of his sexual escapades over the 24 years. Days and days. The stake president, I mean, it was years. It was his entire life, right? And then I'm thinking they're going to call the police, or like he's going to have to see some type of an addiction counselor or something. No, because the atonement in Jesus fixed everything. So our priesthood leaders, I mean, like literally, like Jake would confess to these things, and then we would go to church, and he's sitting there with all these teenage girls, and I'm like, I feel like Jake should be on some type of registry, and like he shouldn't be sitting around teenage girls, right? Like none of the families do. But no, they believe that Jesus and the atonement would fix everything. So that is the Achilles heel in all of these religions. The atonement.
What if you were the one to have to go there and confess? Would Jesus be as as willing to forgive and heal? Would you be
Yeah. I mean, that's just everybody. Like Jesus is like magic sauce, right? Like he can fix everything. So as soon as Jake confessed, all of the priesthood leaders were like, you know, brother Jake, you've confessed. Now the power of the atonement is taking over your life. And so the creepy grandpa in my family that, can I say raped on your channel? That raped children.
Yeah.
He didn't get sent to the police. He didn't get sent to any type of counseling. The magic Jesus sauce was supposed to fix everything, and it did not. And that is the biggest problem with these closed religious communities like Mormonism. So yeah, there's tons of it. I grew up as a child, and it's like, how many times have I been assaulted or molested in my life? I don't even fucking know. I can't even count it. And then I worked for a law group for a while. It was actually a collection of attorneys just about 2 years ago. And it was the attorney who had represented all of the boys in the Boy Scouts of America.
Yep.
So every month I got the monthly reports of the new, and specifically this attorney represented child SA cases of Mormon church leaders. So you're a young woman's, you're 16 years old, and your bishop or a missionary or somebody sexually assaults you. So those were the only cases. And like 1 month it was like 240 cases. The next month it was like 190. And when I saw like some of the internal documents of like all of the lists of how many cases they had represented, it's like, holy fucking hell.
And
Jesus doesn't.
I'm going to add,
accountability does.
I'm going to add that there is essentially a spotlight organization that is tracking it for the LDS. Thank you. I couldn't remember it.
Yeah, my friend Charlie, my ex-Mormon creator friend Charlie, and his wife run
they do a great job with that. And I also follow something that's called the Mormon Newscast, and they're always reporting on SA.
Is that Gene? Who's on Mormon Newscast?
It's Bill Real, it's Rebecca Biblioteca, and
Biblioteca. Yeah.
So the main reason why I asked the second question was because that forgiveness in many of the churches that I know is only afforded to men. Women live with a scarlet letter for the rest of their lives and are atoning forever and are rarely as clean after the grace of God has washed them and the blood of Jesus has washed them clean. I was just wondering, that's what I meant by that. But if it's
so in Mormonism, it's actually kind of the opposite, because men hold the priesthood and women do not. And if you are a priesthood holder and you've been endowed in the temple and you wear your garments and everything, then you're held to a certain amount of accountability that women aren't. Like women are just meaningless and inconsequential. So like I've had female friends who had affairs and, you know, what would be considered sexual sins within Mormonism, and like nothing happened to them. They didn't get excommunicated or anything. Like they had to confess to their bishop and maybe they got like disfellowshipped. But women aren't held accountable because they don't hold the power of God.
Right. So basically it's Adam's fault that Eve ate the apple because he, as the head of the household, did not control
it's definitely Eve's fault, and we act that out in the temple. But Eve, like women are just seen as like, I don't know. I felt like I was lower IQ. I felt like I was helpless, almost childlike. Like women within Mormonism are definitely infantilized. I think that's one of the reasons why, like, I'm almost 52 and people don't think that I'm this old grandma because I spent my whole entire life having to still be perpetually young. It's like Peter Pan, right? Men are mature. They are the providers. They're the ones who make all the decisions. And at my Mormon wedding, Doug, you're going to love this. I don't know if you know this, but I had to actually raise my hand, bow my head, and promise to obey my husband. He was to speak to the Lord for me.
Right.
And once I got married, then my husband was now the intercessor between me and the Lord. So like as a woman, I just didn't have any accountability. Like I was, that's how I always perceived it. That's
that's
women.
amazing.
So it wasn't a scarlet letter. Like I was dumb and female.
And that's just that's amazing. That's some insight for your ass right there.
Yeah.
Wait.
And we're back to Tim.
Oh, you said you were born in 74. Okay, so you're like 2 years older than I am. Okay.
It's good age. It's a good era.
I like older
Tim
women.
and I, what you may not know, Jenny, is Tim and I went to school together, but we are both not young people either.
Yeah, I actually went to high school for a few years with Vicky. So
Yeah.
Oh, that's so fun. Wow.
That's how we knew each other. He pulled me into the admin stuff because he kept stealing my stuff anyway, right? For the Sons of Liberty.
I shared a lot of your posts, but a lot of times I would take screenshots of if it was short enough to fit in my 36-inch monitor. I would screenshot the whole thing and like blank out your name and post it.
Wait a minute. Vicky writes things that are short enough to screenshot?
Really?
That is hard to believe. That is definitely hard to believe.
On my monitor, I have a 36-inch monitor, all right. So
tell us about 36 inches.
Always about the 36 inches.
This is me looking at the left end of my bank of monitors. And this is me looking at the right end of my monitors. So when you see me like doing this shit all over here, it's because I have multiple monitors.
I'm telling you, it was
I would take these posts and put it in the big monitor, one of the big monitors. And then if you like zoom out, like if you hit control and scroll in, you can change the font size. So I would take a picture of the whole ass thing and then save it and blow it up a little bit so you could read it and then post it on Sons of Liberty. So that's how that worked.
I'd like to know what are you still in touch with, or do you still have I guess you can't completely separate from like the Mormon church or even the Christian church, the other Christian church that you used to belong to, but mainly the Mormon church. What if you're still in touch with any of them? If you still get a flavor of what's going on in that community, what is their response? What was their what does it look like to them about this whole Epstein thing? What is their official response? How have you seen them respond to it? Has it been just a big, oh well, nothing burger, forget about it? Or have they kind of feigned necessity to get the files out? What was their whole idea?
That's an interesting question. And yes, I try to keep my finger on the Mormon pulse. Like I follow a lot of Mormon content creators. And while I don't have personal Mormon friends in my life because I'm an evil apostate who's also very influential in helping other people decompress and deconstruct from Mormonism. So I'm contagious. They don't want to
our type of girl.
Yeah. Like I'm contagious. I used to keep a list of how many people I'd helped out of Mormonism. So I don't have any personal friends, but I do follow a lot of content creators, and I still do have some friends and family that I hear things from. And also I was MAGA just 2 years ago, right? I viewed the Epstein files and all of that type of stuff, like anything against Donald Trump. I voted for him as a Mormon, as a faithful believer through the grab him by the pussy era, right?
Yeah.
Because I believed that God was using him as, the person who was going to support Christians.
Yeah.
I saw any attack on him as just Satan trying to keep him from stepping into his divine role as the president of the United States. So I totally turned a blind eye. It's like, I grew up in a church where the founder was this crazy pedophile. He had 14-year-old wives. He had like 39 wives, right? And I saw this going on around me all the time. So I viewed the whole entire world as this battle of good and evil. Satan was out to get God's elect. And once I had in my head that Donald Trump was a good man and that he was the best man to be the president, any accusations against him I saw as Satan just trying to pull down, God's chosen presidential candidate. And that's a lot of what I've seen from my friends and family who are still MAGA. First of all, like fake news, because these are deeply religious people who don't believe in any of the stuff that happened in Epstein's crazy network. But it's like, well, this is fake news. When President Trump says this is a hoax, then they want to believe that. They want to believe that it's a hoax. I do see a lot of the Mormon content creators and people that I follow distancing themselves from Trump now. Like it's almost like they've pulled things into neutral and they're just kind of parked there idling to see what happens, to see what evidence comes out. But yeah, if somebody makes accusations against your guy, then that's just Satan. Satan's trying to keep the Lord's president from
I've
getting
definitely seen that as well with religious friends who are on the right side of the aisle and have a religious conviction to follow whatever Trump says is definitely the truth, and anything is fake news that goes against it. Any attempt to slice into that, and it makes it so difficult to make a connection to them. It makes it
right. You just have to love
find
them.
common ground.
So as a Mormon, like I wasn't taught critical thinking skills. If I had critical thinking skills, then I would have deconstructed Mormonism at age 5. So what you're taught is emotional attunement. You're taught to listen to the Holy Ghost, to doubt your doubts. So if one of my friends said, hey, did you know that the Book of Mormon is fake? Like as a high school kid, well, I would go home and pray about that. I wouldn't actually look at any evidence. I wouldn't like go to the library and get a book on the Book of Mormon or look at, something that would give me a contrary idea. I would tune into my own feelings, and then I would talk to my mom and other people within my community just to get me back to that place of emotional stability, right? Spiritual, emotional stability. So arguing with someone who's deeply indoctrinated doesn't make any sense because they aren't trained to think critically, to break down any type of rhetoric or examine evidence or anything like that. I learned how to do that literally after I left the church. I'm still now just learning how to evaluate information. So if you have somebody who's deeply indoctrinated, if they're MAGA or Mormon or whatever, and you're trying to tell them about the Epstein files, like they're going to feel threatened, they're going to feel attacked, they're going to feel bad, and they're going to go back into whatever brainwashing and self-hypnosis makes them love Trump again. The only way to get through that is literally to be their friend. You can't argue.
And it doesn't help that people are in all insular groups are told not to trust outside information.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, you got to build the wall to keep your bubble insulated, because otherwise holes could poke in the bubble.
I did not Google anything about the Mormon Church ever. I was 44 years old. If I had any questions about anything, I knew that Satan ran the internet. And so, I mean, like literally that's what I thought.
I mean,
so I never Googled. Yeah. Like that's what I thought. Like that's true.
That's true. It is true.
So then, I had that episode in church where, oh my God, this isn't true. I walked out of the church. And so since I had walked out, I opened up my computer at age 44. And the first time in my entire life, I typed in evidence against the Book of Mormon. And Joseph Smith was a fraud. And I found polygamy, and I found some different things. It was the first time ever in my entire life that I had ever Googled my own religion, because I had been taught never to look for outside sources ever.
Wait, does that mean you went to 44 to see cat videos? Because that's like that is like 3/4 of the internet. Let's be honest. That is the vast majority.
I didn't even like I would post stuff to Facebook, but I wouldn't interact with Facebook. I had never watched videos. I don't even think that I had been on YouTube. I had never watched YouTube videos. I had not interacted with the internet, and I was 44 years old, except my Facebook. I was on Facebook.
Outstanding.
So.
Wow.
And you said you were doing essential oils. I imagine there was a Facebook group for that.
Yeah.
Young Living or doTERRA?
doTERRA, yeah. So my whole ballerina farm era, we bought a homestead that was all built around. Yeah. It's so Mormon-y.
I still love them essential oils, man. Y'all stop playing. I'm a fan. Oh man.
Have any of you guys?
Yeah, I like the smell of it.
Jennie,
I think it's okay to like the smell.
Have any of you guys, including Jennie, watched the? I think it was a limited series on Netflix or something. Can't remember exactly. It's called American Primeval.
Oh yeah.
I keep getting it recommended.
You've seen American Primeval?
Yeah,
one of my ancestors was John D. Lee, who was behind the massacre. So that's my family.
So he was.
John D. Lee was executed. Yeah, he was
nice. How awesome! Okay, that's not awesome, but
he's in my family.
Yeah, that's not awesome. I mean,
wow.
You have serial killer family members, but
We did not do enough research on our guest.
I read the books about
so
that
much
massacre.
potential there that we didn't even
You
think about.
can't like
On my
type
list.
in Jenny Gage live take 2 and immediately come up with was related to John D. Lee from American Primeval who massacred blah 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 blah.
I have, and I don't know exactly how I'm related to him because now my granddad's dead, but somewhere I actually have a little book that was published by the church like in the 1910 or something, that's written by one of his wives, the wife that was actually part that founded Lee's Ferry here in Arizona with him. And my granddad was like, yeah, this is like your great aunt. So yeah, that's my kids are like all completely descended. Like my ex-husband's family was all the original founders of Mormonism, Ephraim Bingham and stuff. So we have a lot of polygamists and a lot of nefarious people in our family. I felt like American Primeval probably portrayed Brigham Young much more in the way that he was in reality than anything we have hitherto seen.
I love that this information is coming out. I again,
breaking news on SOL
I am
channel.
excited.
So, one of my favorite actors of all fucking time, Kim Coates, who if you've watched Sons of Anarchy, you know him. He's in there as one of the main supporting characters. Kim Coates played Brigham Young. And Kim Coates is a fantastic but massively underrated actor. American Primeval. I'm a big fan of Westerns. Like I fucking love Westerns so much that I was like, I'm in indie film. I gotta make a Western. So I made a fucking Western.
It's true.
And American Primeval takes place during the Utah War, which was this big period in that area. And specifically, it's like a fictionalized version. Well, not fictionalized, but it's kind of based on the
Mountain Meadows Massacre.
Yeah, the Mountain Meadows Massacre, right?
Mountain Meadows, something like that. Massacre.
Yep.
Yeah. And I'm also a fan of the whole Civil War era genre. It takes place before that, but it's like within a couple of years of that. So I watched that, and since you've seen it, I'm fucking mad that you live in Arizona because like you could like come over and like watch it and fucking drink and be like, okay, so tell me. And I would totally like be like, okay, so this part here is accurate, and I would be like, oh.
So what I know about John D. Lee, who's somewhere in my family tree, is this little book that I have. And he was out traveling around for the church, and he comes across this little Arizona town. And as he's speaking as the priesthood leader, like the pastor sort of from the pulpit, he looks out into the crowd and he sees this beautiful young, I think she was like 16-year-old woman with blue eyes. And from the pulpit, he falls in love with her and he makes her wife like number, 12, 16, something like that. So that's what the book's all about. So he marries her and they build a little plot here in Arizona, and then he goes off to see all of the other wives. But, as a Mormon growing up reading that stuff, it's like, oh, that's so beautiful. The Lord told him that that's his wife. Reading it now as an ex-Mormon, it's like, how are the Mormons not the OG Jeffrey Epsteins? Like he's out in this church conference, Brigham Young sends him down to Arizona so that he can establish some congregations here in Arizona. And basically every congregation that he goes to, he's like, here's a fine young thing. And he just marries them, right? Like
this 13-year-old around.
Yeah, like his youngest wife was 13 for Brigham Young.
Yeah. I mean, they were the OG, like Joseph Smith was the P. Diddy of the 1800s. I stand by that.
Oh, yeah. Yikes.
Well, he was very, there's something in upstate New York that you'll recognize the name. It's the Oneida cult. And so it developed around the same time as it's part of that
they had the spiritual wifery and stuff too. Yeah.
And they were free love. So when you talk about Joseph Smith and like all the polygamy and stuff, you have to think about that period of time too, because it was a big deal in where he grew up. So sorry,
you guys,
I apologize.
You guys have just given me so much to think about. It is so fun to dialogue with you. I need to hop off because I have a client who's expecting me in about 15 minutes to come film for them here in Tucson. So I need to hop off and go do some filming.
Okay. It has been the best day for me, Jennie. I have enjoyed chatting with y'all so much. This has been a great conversation.
Well.
It's true. It's been very engaging.
The honor is all mine. You guys are amazing. I'm just so grateful for the work that you're doing out there. I think that you all just have great hearts, and it's so important for us to have people that are resisting this horrible system that has taken over America right now. It's so sad to like leave the Mormon church and be like, yay, now I'm this woke feminist, Democrat, atheist, and oh shit, now Trump's in charge. So like I did get to enjoy it, right?
Well, there's always a fight to be had.
And I'm glad you guys are out there fighting it.
Thank you so much for coming, though, man. I mean, I had to prepare myself. Like, I've been watching her for so long. I said, all right,
thank you.
Yes.
I've also been watching you for a long time, Jennie. So you're Douglas and I are both super fans.
There we go.
You guys, thank you so much. Like that means a lot to me. You've seen me go through like the toughest times, like COVID and the like poverty and Jake and stuff happening behind the scenes that like wasn't even on camera.
Jake.
Fucking Jake.
Everybody get
for me.
Fuck Jake real quick for everybody in the chat room. Have a good one, Jen.
Fuck that guy.
I love you guys. Well, thank
Jennie,
you so much.
have a good evening.
All right.
Jennie,
you
send
too.
Me text me your address and your t-shirt size. I'll send you a fucking Sons of Liberty shirt.
No. Oh my
yes.
God. I'm so
The man
excited.
do hawk some t-shirts.
Oh my God.
I
Okay,
will
I'm gonna wear
tell
it
a
proudly and
fucking
loudly. I love that you're like taking back America. I bought this little American flag pin, right? Like it's an antique. And when I first bought it, I'm like, that's so MAGA. And so I'm going to own it. And when I saw your videos, like the first few videos of yours that I saw, I'm like, I fucking love that there's another Democrat out there taking back the American flag and all this stuff. So
symbols, and not just for them.
Yeah, like why can't I be an American?
They're ours.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
They're ours, absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
time to take that shit back. I will wear my Sons of Liberty shirt loud and proud. So
I dare
you guys are absolutely amazing. All right. Well, thank you guys. Carry on.
Thank you, Jennie.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to tell you that I have loved this conversation so much. It has made my day. I am very excited about all of this. And
2.5 hours.
Thank you for letting me.
Yeah, it was a good long conversation. And we still have Jennie's channel up on the screen for anybody who missed it, in case you want to go over, see some of her content, give her a like and subscribe.
Looks like I joined in just at the right time. Obviously, it wasn't going good until I got here.
I mean, obviously. What could it
Our
otherwise?
live stream schedule,
when you're gone.
because I've seen people asking questions about who's coming up next. Monday, 15 September, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. It is currently 9:30 p.m. where I am. So if you got to look at your clock and figure out, okay, well, this is the time zone. 5:30 p.m. Monday, 15 September, we have Representative Rokana. If he doesn't reschedule. The next day, Tuesday, 16 September, which is our usual live stream time, we have Stephanie Steiner, a congressional candidate running for Iowa 4th District. And then Monday, the 22nd of September at 7 p.m., we have returning guest Kat Abu-Ghazaleh, who is in Illinois. And as you all know, Illinois is the state where Chicago is. And as you all know, Chicago is where Trump has deployed National Guard. So if that's still a thing, we're going to talk about that.
Wait a minute. It keeps going back and forth. He actually sent them this time.
Yeah, they're there, from what I understand.
From Texas.
Yeah.
That's practically an invasion.
Where's my
Just saying.
What's going
Yeah.
on? Hold on.
All right. Continuing right along. Tuesday the 23rd, there will not be a live stream because Wednesday the 24th, we have a live stream. I just can't do 3 shows back to back. I don't have enough boost for that. Wednesday, 24th September, also at 7 p.m., we have Brian Nathan, a congressional candidate from Florida.
Speaking of.
And then back to our Tuesday schedule. Tuesday, 30 September at 7 p.m., we have Monty Mader. He is a former alt-right Christian nationalist who is still Christian, I believe.
I think Janet just said she's rescheduling.
What?
Janet just said Monty's rescheduling.
All right, well, let me shut the fuck up and not talk about Monty Mader until we have that figured out. This is news to me.
Until we have that date squared away.
Yeah. At some point, Monty Mader will be on our show.
Can I say?
I am excited because Monty Mader, you don't know fucking Monty Mader. Go fix yourself.
Go get your life straight. Can I say, it's good to see Admin V in the place to be, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I try to, I can't make it to all of them, but like when I can, I do make it. Tuesdays are rough for me. I'm going to be honest. It's the end of the sprints for me usually, and I work late. So, but Friday nights are great.
I thought you were just going to say,
person.
I thought you were just going to say you only come for the people you care about.
Well, I'm not going to lie.
You don't care about the other one.
I would have figured out a way to be on with Jenny Gage.
Who in the fuck is this guy talking about? This fucking clown, U.S. Army combat medic in all caps. Is that fucking dude who's been in my comments like last year at the same time? Every fucking video I post? Peacetime veteran.
He wasn't a peacetime veteran. Just so y'all know that.
Who cares? The fuck are you talking about?
Who the fuck cares? Like my man Doug said. But also, secondly, no, motherfucker, I was in for 10 years. Are you stupid? Or do you just not know who the fuck I am? Do you know who the fuck I am?
The fuck are you talking to, son? Get
I'm the dude. This guy's the dude playing another dude.
I got out in 2004, you dumb cunt. Do you know what happened in 2001? Go fuck yourself.
No. Wait a minute. Why is your name in all caps? Huh? Because you're trying to outplay the masters. That's why you're trying to outshine your boy. You're wrong. You're dead wrong. All he has is talk. The fuck out of here. The fuck out of here. Who is this man? Let me find.
I wasn't a vet. I'm not a vet at all, so he can happily troll me if he wants.
Fix bayonets.
Who did you save? Combat medic? I'd like to find out. You could save these nuts. Open up, bitch. The fuck is wrong with you?
The only time that I would ever disparage another vet is for their branch of service because inter-service rivalry.
Because that's the right way to do it.
If a civilian disparaged a veteran, we would be on the same side. But whoever this fucking jackwagon is in the comments, he's like, you're a peacetime veteran. First of all, I'm presuming you're talking about me or Doug. So first of all, you're wrong for that because you're a veteran. We're a veteran. Who the fuck are you talking to, motherfucker? And then second of all,
and he's still going at it.
You still don't know who the fuck I am.
Your mom knows who I am. She played video games with me last night. Army combat medic. She needs a stethoscope. Her heart stopped. I can tell.
Warrior.
I can tell. No.
I do, in fact, play video games, and I'm very good at them. I was also a video game developer.
He's also good with his fingers.
That's like, ha, you have a big dick. Okay, so what's the problem here?
This guy.
Oh, you play video games. No shit, asshole. Welcome to the fucking 21st century where the vast majority of people who are still alive play video games of some sort, whether it's on their phone or on their computer. You dumb shit.
Get out your mom's basement, medic.
Some
What
of
is
us
wrong?
play the video games that are like Sudoku.
Stop
We
All right, all right,
your
all
own
right.
medicine.
I'm gonna do a thing here,
I'm done.
and
I'm
I'm
sorry.
gonna apologize in advance for doing the thing.
Okay.
Combat medic, you are a POG. You are a POG, person other than grunt. You are not a grunt. I was in peacetime and in wartime. I have a combat infantry badge. You don't. Fuck you. I'm better than you. Suck a dick. Your mom gets wet for this dick, bitch.
I'm a
Anything else you want to
combat
say, you
medic.
dumb shit?
I heal people and then laugh at the ones who shoot
No,
at them.
I think I remember this
makes
guy.
sense,
He was
doesn't
in our comment sections last
He
year
was.
when we first got really big for like the first couple of months when shit was going viral. And then he was talking shit and didn't take too well and he disappeared. And over the fucking months after that, I'd be like, where's my guy at? Because he was constantly like trying to nag me in the comments. And I'm like, no, that's not correct. Let me explain why you're wrong. And then he would come back with some other stupid shit. But here he is a year later. And
He's a troll.
I kind of want to just let him be a fucking punching bag in the
Yeah, I like it.
in the fucking
There
comment
he
section.
is.
Video game boy, big
You
hero.
live in his head rent free, Big Sarge.
I have lived in this motherfucker's head rent free for
Over
a
a
whole
year.
ass year because
Oh,
here
a
he
year
is again
later.
talking
Can you
shit in the
imagine?
comments. Can you? The only thing that's sadder than that, and I'm gonna tell you a video game story because video games, you play
Don't
video
let it
games.
get to you. Don't let it get to you, boy. Look at this guy.
This motherfucker,
He's a combat vet.
bro.
He's
You
probably
should
16
charge
in his
rent.
mom's basement.
You should charge rent if I live rent free in your head, because you should charge rent. I would respectfully ask that you charge under $1,000 because this is what I currently have right here. Is this luxurious, large, 3-bedroom, 2-bath house on a corner lot with a huge yard, and I'm not paying a whole lot for it. So you should charge roughly about $1,000
He can't. It's his
for me to
mom's
live
house.
rent free in your head.
He can't charge. It's his mom's house. He doesn't understand those
Look at this
things. You
sad
have to
fuck.
ask his mom to charge you rent for his head. Unlike your mom, who I gave great head to last night, she loved it. I didn't cost her a thing.
This sad fuck in the comments. Who the fuck gets in comments on a live chat and is like, you motherfucker, I'm gonna talk shit to you. Go outside and touch grass, you fucking dork.
I gotta tell you, I don't know any combat vets I don't know any combat medics who have ever acted like this guy. I am calling bullshit. I don't know whose picture of whose grandfather picture that is. I'm calling bullshit. I have never seen anybody.
Why the fuck would a combat medic talk shit about other people?
Exactly. I've never. Unless he was one for the Nazis. So, how old are you really, sir? Let me see that picture again. You were on the wrong side, weren't you? That wasn't U.S. Army. That couldn't be. I've never seen one act like you. I've met a lot of medics in my time, and we had a lot of jokes
Salvation
and
Army,
a lot
baby.
of beer. Can you drink
I
beer?
don't mean to disparage the Salvation Army. I do like your Santa Claus jingle jangle guys.
I'm a fan of the Salvation Army.
I'm not, but that's a story for another day.
They're a homophobic organization, but you know, the guy at the bell ringers, they do serve an important function, and that is to remind me to never carry cash.
It's his mom's picture. Is that your dad? And is that picture of your dad? Oh, now what is that? You backing down? No, stand up, bitch. Don't come back now with that bullshit.
At least he stopped typing in all caps.
Oh, there we go. All right. In that case, I had my fun. That was what I needed. I was waiting to get that on out, man. That felt good.
Anyway, thanks for stopping by a year later to broadcast the fact that we fucking live rent free in your head. I don't even know where that came from. There's literally nothing in this entire ass conversation that talked about peacetime service.
It's just a troll. He was like that's what he does. He puts pictures of his father on his thing and calls himself a combat medic and then trolls army vets. I guarantee you. I guarantee.
It's coincidental. Like it fits with the theme. We're talking about fucking mental illness and whatnot. So it's good that he maybe he'll seek help. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't really care either.
Speaking of, we are way over time, guys.
Yeah, sorry.
I would like to.
Oh, you banned him. I was just about to say I got to go do his mom. I got to leave, guys.
Yeah.
I love that one.
We do have that time where you got to go get there. Look, I'm looking out for you to make sure you're on time because, you got places to be.
She is big.
It's Friday, though. We should crank up the fucking George Jones. It's finally Friday.
All right, I'm done with the ridiculous.
Let the good times roll.
Some of us have to get to work in the morning, man.
All right, I'm gone. 2 claps in the ring. How about that?
You do it.
I have had so much fun, y'all.
Lead us out, Doug.
2 claps in the ring.
Woo!
All right. Hi, guys.
I woke Ram up.
Uh-oh. I'm still here, and we're still streaming.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to end the stream, Tim.
Do what?
I was waiting for you to end the stream.
Oh, you're waiting for me to end the stream?
Yeah.
What if I don't end it, though? What if it goes on and on?
But if we keep going, then I won't get to watch my Mormonism After Dark podcast that I was planning to watch tonight. That would be disappointing.
Sounds like you could click that button anytime, though.
I know I could, but I think I'm going to wait out.
It's not like the old days of television where you had to be there when it started, otherwise you would miss something, right? All right, I'll go ahead and end the stream.
I do admit to a ex-Mormon podcast problem. I do watch a lot of it. So
I went to a language school with tons and tons of Mormon people, so I no longer have any curiosity about that. I had I'll just say that I was invited to help with soaking, and we'll leave it at that.
Oh boy. Oh fun.
In stream.
Yeah.